Folks, my name is Badger. I am here to create and be joined by many great people for a very interesting RD2L NA playoff prediction. I'm already jumbling on my words, very fun 4 hours ahead of me. But I am joined here right now currently by two members of the feed stack, funnily enough. I have Captain Matieu and famed analyst Devilesk. How you two doing right now?
Doing pretty good. Looking forward to sitting here for the next hour and a half, talking Dota.
Yep, doing good.
We should be joined currently by Redondo. Redondo is currently late. He is going to show up when he is able to, but you know what? We don't need Redondo. We're going to be okay for now, hopefully. But the first series we are going to get into is going to be EST Sunday, seed number 7, the Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang repeated, versus EST Monday's 8th seed in Swole Life, captained by Poonani. So first off, I actually want to ask you guys about this Monday team, Swole Life. Obviously, there has been one big caveat, right? Ellen Pudge, their best player, has not been playing for a lot of the regular season games, correct?
Yep. Ellen Pudge has, I think, shown up to a total of 6 of their 16 games. Yeah, 6 of their 16 matches.
Is it a surprise that they've actually managed to get all the way to this 8th seed, despite not having their best player for the majority of their games?
It's a huge shocker. They had their 6th pick, or maybe 5th pick. I think 6th pick is a guy named Shoshin, who's like Legend 0. And Poonani was like, we'll just have you play carry, we'll just have our highest MMRs be support, you'll be carry when Mugi's not here, and they've they've done good with it. They've won, they took a game off Snow's team, 2nd team in the league. They ended, 9-7? They did super well. They also had, I think, the highest strength of season of almost any team in the division.
Devils?
Yeah, I don't know. That team's really surprisingly solid. I didn't expect them to do that well. I think they're mid-master. It's a divine player.
You got
solid offlaner.
Yeah, Master's actually much better than as Mara suggests. We played against them week 1, Devilesk and I did, and we ended up 1-1ing them. And after the series, I was super impressed with Master. He's like a much better mid player than I expected him to be. And I also they've rotated him to carry to 5 position. He's played 3 different roles and he's done super well on all of them. He's a very impressive player.
But they are going up against one of the middling teams as far as playoffs go for this EST Sunday seed. We are now joined by Redondo to tell us about the Gucci Gang. How you doing, Redondo?
I'm doing pretty well. I apologize for being 8 whole minutes late. I wasn't expecting you to be so professional and on time and all that stuff. Yeah, so Wee's team, right? We're talking, Wee's team. I think this is kind of a tough team to preview because, as far as I'm aware, they replaced 2 of their support players late in the season. But the reason why, when this team got drafted, I said that this was one of the dark horses of the division in terms of actually doing a lot better than anyone thought. They have a super strong tricore, in my opinion, for ESC Sunday. I think I think he's Divine 2 now. He's definitely gotten a lot better as the season went on. He was on my team last season before he was removed for attitude problems. Or he removed himself for attitude problems. But he came back, he captained. He's now on the number 6 team in the division, tied for 4th. He's an exceptional carry player, in my opinion. I think if you give him space, if you give him a good start, he's definitely good enough to carry a game. Mid laner Isaac, also known as OK for everyone else, is one of the sneaky good mid players. He's really, really quiet, so no one actually talks to him or anything. But I think he's exceptional. And then Killer Karate in the offlane is one of my favorite offlane players to play with. I think he's a really good playmaker, which I don't know if it's super good in this patch. He plays I think Darkseer and Elder Titan are his best heroes, and yeah, sure, ET's really good, but Darkseer's probably one of the worst 5 heroes in Dota right now. I think that kind of sucks for him, but he's obviously still pretty good. I think he's really good for his MMR as a playmaker and such.
You know, we actually just played these guys last night, and
Yeah, I was I was told by multiple sources that their mid player had 400 ping in your win.
okay, let's just explain.
And that was the only reason why you won.
We're gonna win that game. I don't like the trash talk. That okay, I actually do, but I'm going to trash talk in a sense. Which even if he has 0 ping, I think we win that game number 2, because the very important thing in that game number 2 we played last night is you have to look at Riles Storm Spirit. That man actually had probably 110 CS at minute 10. He was unbelievably farmed. In addition to that, I was free farming Lifestealer. So Riles is going on some inhuman levels of farm, destroying the middle lane, and even if
the guy had 400 ping. What
he had stacks in the jungle where there was no interactions with the enemy team. That's what matters. Like, I was telling my supports to stack the jungle camps, right? Because at this point, we lose game number 1. Riles is tilted. He's not even talking to anybody on this team. He's just using the chat wheel sound. That's the spirit for Storm Spirit, not talking in the entire series.
I don't think that's a good sign for things moving forward. I'm just saying.
But I tell my supports at like minute 115, I'm reminding them, you have to stack in 45 seconds. It's time to stack. We need to give Riles farm. And that was our game plan, is stack for Riles. And Riles carried the shit out of us that game, and it worked out for us.
I mean, hey, I don't think that's ever like a bad strategy. It's just like, you know, their mid laner ended with 44 CS in 21 minutes. I think it's fair to say that he was lagging a bit. Come on.
It is fair. It is fair.
Come on. Like, as Gyrocopter, like, I'm pretty sure you can cast your ultimate enough times to get your fucking... As a mid-gyro, I'm pretty sure you can just cast your ult on creeps off cooldown and get more than 44 CS in 21 minutes.
Even then, though, like, it wouldn't have mattered. It's Gyrocopter, you just stick the rocket on Storm. You don't need to be able to respond, right?
Yeah,
you don't need a thing for that.
I think this is a fine team. They're best players, and I think Poonani's best players are the supports. I'm sorry, I missed the first 6 minutes or so of this, but I don't know what you guys were talking about. I'm assuming Poonani's best players are support players, right?
So Poonani's strength is actually he, Mugi, and Master have all all 3 of them have played core at some point, and all 3 of them have played support at some time. At some point, like, any game you go into, you can't, like, predict which of them is going to play support and which is going to be core. Like, most of the time, like, you have Poonani on the support and, like, Mugi and Master playing core, but, like, they just swap it up if they find, like, a different hero that one of them's more comfortable on, they'll just mix it up, and it makes them really versatile in their drafting. Like, you don't, like, for the most part, know what they're going to do except pick, hug, clockwork. Like, outside of that, you've, like, their drafts are pretty hard to predict, which is an advantage.
Yeah,
well, if they play Shoshin, he's probably gonna play carry, right?
Yeah, if they keep playing Shoshin in playoffs, he plays carry for them always.
What does that mean for the roles for this team then? Is they playing Alan Podge? Well, where are they going to be playing him then?
It'll be interesting to see, like, who. I assume Poonani's gonna, like, just be swapping people out each game in playoffs. When Mugi's in, they'll probably have him playing mid for them. Then they'll have Shoshin or Master playing carry. Alternatively, if, like, Shoshin and Master are both in, Shoshin will be carry and Master will be playing support with Poonani probably, and then they'll have Hug as their other core. That's probably what they'll end up doing, but they might.
I thought Mugi was there for.
Mugi normally has been playing core for them. Like, he sometimes.
I'm sure Alan Clutch could play literally anything.
I mean,
yeah, he mixed it up.
When they beat us.
He played 4 and they beat us, but he's played mid like a lot of their weeks. That's just what I'm saying. They mix it up every week. Like, I can't tell you right now in their series what role they're gonna play, because I don't think they even know. They're just gonna draft. They'll figure it out after the draft. Like, who knows? You know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Wee's team is like. I think they have 2 players who can absolutely take over a game if given a good start. I think they have a really good playmaking offlaner, and I don't know who's playing support for them. You know, and like that's generally a pretty good success for winning a playoff series, I'd say.
I mean, do they have decent support players though? If you don't know them, are they like any good?
Name sub legend 1 support players or whatever. Like, no.
I mean,
I think that's the big weakness of this team is like three good core players, and I don't know who's playing support.
I mean, I think that's why Poonani's gonna win this series. He's just gonna win the early game, just take over.
We mentioned that it's a little bit harder to draft against this Poo NaNi team as well. I'm of the mentality that it's actually fairly predictable drafts coming out from this Gucci Gang team.
Mhm.
Where you almost know they're going to have a very heavy playmaking sort of offlaner. They like picking some weird stuff in there too. We're talking like Clockwork offlane, Tusk offlane, some really weird stuff. They're going to have Wee play a bit of a ricing carry. Think Gyrocopter, think Juggernaut, think... We even play like Phantom Assassin, Battle Fury Rush type stuff. I think it's a little easier to beat them in the draft in that sense. I don't know. Seems a little
absolutely.
easier.
I think Poonani's team is based on what you guys are saying. It's obviously weird, but sometimes weird doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes you draft yourself into some corner and like nothing makes sense anymore, and you're just kind of playing a pub. And the other team's got like a systematic. This is how we farm. This is how we lane. This is how we rotate our supports type deal. And sometimes that works.
I mean, looking at like Gucci Gang's draft, it seems like super stereotypical stuff. They just draft like the meta stuff. Like you can look at all their recent matches. They just draft Sand King, Witch Doctor, and then they get basic cores. A Gyro, a Juggernaut. From like I don't
don't think you have to be fancy in RD2L.
I mean, I think it's the type of stuff an experienced drafter like Poonani can take advantage of, though. Like I think going into the series, I would expect that like Poonani's probably gonna have a stronger draft every single game.
Yeah, I think it's his first season captaining. I'm pretty sure he's drafting as well. I know OK has been playing for 2 seasons, and I think Killer Karate's been playing for 2 seasons. This is both of their 3rd seasons.
All right, Redondo, if you were gonna make a guess who wins this series, do you think there's a chance Ree's team wins it?
Absolutely. I think that there's like a couple heroes that we and OK can play that can take over a game, and you only need to pick one of those twice. I don't think it's going to be like a 70-30 stomp like you guys do. I think it's closer to like 60-40.
I think it's like 80-20.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I know you had a really high opinion of Poonani's team.
I think their team is very good, and like I mean they made playoffs like half the series, more than half the games they didn't have their first pick at all, and now in playoffs they're I presume gonna have their first pick every game, so they should be even stronger. Like
Did
maybe
they
there's some maybe.
Did they have an equivalent stand-in though?
No, they never used standard. They would just play their 6th pick instead of their first pick, and they would do fine. They would beat anyone they played against.
Very impressive.
Yeah.
Devils, do you agree with the Poonani hype?
Yeah, I'd say it's even higher than 80-20, like 90-10. I don't think this Sunday team has an answer for Moogie's mid-hero pool. Like,
He's gonna play like fucking something retarded, right? Like
yeah, like Enigma mid.
Dude, I was playing Enigma mid, dude. That's what they've done, and I think like half the games Moogie has
He
played,
dumpstered Riles in a pub with it. Just
yeah.
completely shit on him. Plays like Vynil mid.
How is your core gonna take over the game when Enigma takes a quarter of his creeps?
Dear God, that sounds terrible.
They're gonna just have to pick Lich, guys. Good luck.
Hey, what if you go Enigma and Lich then? That's denying 2 creeps per wave. What is the counterplay? Where
That
are the creeps?
was the Shea strat from like 2 seasons ago with his Sunday team, remember?
Yeah.
I think they ran Enigma Lich a lot.
They ran Enigma PA a lot. When PA was banned, I think Lich was like a backup once or twice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think it's pretty easy to sit here with the middling Sunday team versus the middling Monday team and say the Monday team is gonna shit on the Sunday team, but like, I don't know. I think there's a chance.
Yeah.
I think 90-10s. The one caveat would be that Wee is prone to tilting based on 6 months ago. I think he's a lot better now, but I think if you shit on the early game against his team, like he might get flustered. Like this, I know Isaac didn't play very well in our playoff game 2 seasons ago, so like that's another question mark. I think it's Killer Karate's first time in playoffs, I want to say.
I think you're right. He's in the chat. He'd probably say it eventually, but I'm honestly not sure about that one.
I think it's his first season in playoffs. So yeah, like that might be like a new. Everyone's got like the playoff jitters or whatever, and Poonani's
actually it's his 3rd time in a row in playoffs, Redondo.
Oh shit, I'm way off.
Defending playoff player.
I mean, I think something worth noting. So like, if you just like look through this Gucci Gang's Dota buff, like. Most of their losses are when games go like 45 minutes plus. Like they tend to win earlier, and then like I haven't like watched these games obviously, but this Dota buff like would indicate they tend to like lose late game, either that they're just not as comfortable in it, their shot calling's not as great or whatever. Like compare that to Poonani's team, who's like made Mega Creep comebacks, like done a bunch of like really impressive late game wins, and probably has the stronger early game thanks to their supports. Like I don't know, it feels like just a really hard matchup for these.
I think that's just kind of a byproduct of the heroes that we've seen plays. Like they play a lot of PA, a lot of Razor, a lot of Gyro. Like a lot of these, like they got to peak at 35 minutes to win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I don't know what exactly Poonani plays, but I would guess that if they're coming back from Mega Creeps, they got a hero to do that.
All right, so I want to hear what's your final predictions here, the score of the series, and how confident are you in that prediction? Devilesk?
It's gonna be 2-0, I think. Poonani takes it. Like a 90% chance.
Redondo?
I think based on what you guys are saying, I think Poonani will win 2-0, but I think that both games go more than 35 minutes. Like I think it's kind of close. I think it's like a shit. I think one of the games Poonani shits on them early game, and then they hold out for a while and eventually lose. And then the next game, I think it's much closer early game, and then like 2 bad team fights and Poonani will win.
And then Matt?
I think Bruni 2-0. I'm like 80% certain. I think Weehaw needs to very much study Poonani's team. I think there's like I don't want to out a bunch of like their draft
I told everything about Weezy. Come on, man.
I'm just like there are a couple heroes like you'll notice that like Shoshin, like if he's in the game, can like really only play Juggernaut at a super high level, and like Hug plays Clockwork and Omni. Like
there's gonna be some drug fights because Wee's best hero by like a mile and a half is Juggernaut. He's got 5 games. He's got 100% win rate on it.
I saw how like overall like Poonani's team is super versatile, but there's some stuff that like going into this draft Weehaw just like, or I call him Weehaw, whatever, just needs to be aware of to have a chance. But I think 2-0 Poonani.
I'm with you guys here. I'm also going to say 2-0 Poonani. And I might honestly reflect badly on my team too, but I mean, our own play has been reflecting badly on us recently. Wow. Alright, so it's time to jump into series number 2. What do we got here? We got EST Sunday's very own Finding Shade Doctor, the 2 seed, captained by Yak, up against EST Monday, 13 seed, Spacedude, and the Matieu Slayers. So obviously, we've talked a lot already about Finding Shade Doctor. We're gonna get to them very soon. But who are Spacedude and the Matieu Slayers, and why do they slay Matieu?
So Spacedude has been my roommate for the past 2 years. He's like my best friend, and we met at college, and I trained him in Dota. And now he's professional 3K player, EST Monday captain. He's a good friend of mine. His team is pretty good. Last season, one of the EST Monday teams that made playoffs was, I don't remember their name, but they had Deserted, Kende, and Pyro was basically their best 3 players, and they made playoffs and like lost round 1 to Dark's team last season. Deserted and Kende have a huge amount of experience together, and now they have Pyro is really good for his drafting knowledge and forward position, but Og is a super legit offlaner, and they've got him now, and a probably stronger. Oh, they've got a pretty good support duo in Spacedude and Triple Rainbow. I think this team is fairly strong.
So let me ask you, if you've been roommating with him for 2 years, how have you only gotten him to 3K?
Some people just need a little more help than others.
Alright, so obviously we've talked about Spacedude. What does this team do to make playoffs in that sense? What differentiates them as a good Dota team?
Well, they got a couple forfeit wins, actually. And they lost early, so they were only against bad teams for most of it.
So you're saying you rigged it in favor of your roommates. This is what I'm
they also, I think, had the weakest strength of season of any of the playoff teams. No, MJJ's had a weaker strength of season, but theirs was pretty low. But they made it, and that's really what matters,
Alright, so we've seen to have a bit of a luckier team on the right side of the screen. Let's get to the left side of the screen. We got Finding Shade Doctor, EST Sunday's second best team on seeds alone. Redondo, tell me about this team that you've been a fan of for the entire season.
Yeah, when the team got drafted, I looked at it and I thought that they really didn't have any weaknesses. I thought their biggest problem was the lack of a carry player, but you can kind of mask that around having someone like Shay play the offlane. This is a team that I played them 2 weeks ago, and I thought that obviously Lucas Middle is exceptional. Shay went in the offlane, and he played with Yak, which is kind of like how Shay plays the offlane. Is he takes his 4-player, and the 4-player kind of like wins the lane for him while he farms, and then he takes the game over after that start. And in turn, that means the enemy safe laner is like basically just fucked. And then Mylan and Guardian have been playing safe lane for this team. So it started out with Mylan playing safe lane, and then Yak played safe lane, and now Guardian's playing safe lane. That's obviously the weakest lane on this team, is that duo right there. When I played against them, I was able to take pretty good advantage of it, but the rest of the team is just like super solid and able to overcome that weakness. They do a really good job of winning 2 lanes. And then they have a bunch, like everyone is like a pretty good playmaker. So like I know I said Mylan was one of the weaker links on the team, but like he normally plays mid. I think he played mid last season when he captained, or 2 seasons ago. And like that background really helps him out playing shit like Rubik. You know, that like playmaker mentality type deal. So I've been on the Yak train since the season started. I'm super proud that they ended up doing really, really well, and I look forward to seeing them beat M1D team.
I'm actually of the mentality that this Yak plus Mylan support duo actually might be the best support duo in all of the EST Sunday. Ever since they switched Guardian to carry, playing on the terribly gyrocopter type heroes, they've been able to roam around and make a lot of work with those 2 players. They've really impressed me with their support duo play.
Octane would like to have a discussion with you, but I think that this is definitely the number 2 support duo. Maybe number 2 support duo. You could make an argument. I think Octane's team is just a little bit better, but we'll talk about them later on. It is definitely a very good support duo. I think they make a lot of space. I think Yak has a bunch of 4 heroes that he's really, really good at, and I think he has a good understanding of how to play the map in the early game, and that really helps him out with their 3 cores.
Badger, can you make some stream magic for me? I want to share. I made a predicted playoff bracket.
Put it in there we go.
I put it in the notes, and it is relevant because I think very highly of the Shea Doctor team. I think they're going to make a run all the way to top 4. I think they are incredibly strong. I watched their series last night versus Stark's team, and I was impressed with a lot of this team. One of the things I was super impressed with was how well Yak and Mylan as a support duo moved around the map. Like their movements were really good. I mean, a lot of it was easy, like go gank Dark, kill him until he's really tilted. Like they really executed their movements around the map well. And on top of like Gohan and Shay being incredibly strong cores, I was very impressed with this team when I watched them last night.
You've got them going fairly deep into your bracket, all the way to the semifinals.
I have them eliminating Snow's EST Monday team, yeah.
Ooh, I'm not sure if Snow's gonna like that one later, but we'll get to that later. I mean, you guys have yourself in the finals there. That's a different issue.
We're not talking about my team.
You actually are correct. We are not talking about your team. But Devilesk, you got any thoughts on this matchup? You think a player like Deserted can beat one of the EST Sunday favorites?
On paper, I thought Spacedude's team at the start of the season was really good, but the results during the season haven't been any good, so I actually think the Sunday team might win this. I think it's like 50-50.
I think the main weakness in this matchup for Spacedude teams, like Deserted as a first pick, is very much not comfortable like drafting or shot calling as much as like a lot of the other high MMR players in the league. So a lot of times, like Spacedude hasn't been able to make every match in group stage, and when he's not there, they're surprisingly like their drafts are not the best, and I think their in-game calling isn't the best. And, like Spacedude himself isn't like, I'm not gonna like sit here and try and suck my friend's dick or anything, but like he's better at drafting and shot calling than I think the rest of them, and when he's not there, the team struggles. But still, like when you put him up against Shea Doctor, I think they're going to be having a very rough time drafting and just doing anything. I think it's a really hard matchup. I think it's like 75-25 Yak favored.
Yeah, like I think obviously Deserted's clearly good enough to take over a series by himself, and it's always tough to predict against those teams with like a top 5 player on their team, like in the entire league. But I just think that like the drum I've been beating with Yak's team is that they are super solid. They have no holes, and they're just going to play like good Dota. And I think that's really tough for the teams with like the one shining player, like the one standout player. And like I think Og he plays offlane, right? Like I think he's really good. I've heard a lot of things about him, but mid and offlane are 2 of the easier positions to shut down with good supports, I'd say.
So what is your guys' final verdict on this Finding Shea Doctor versus Spacedude in the Matieu Slayers matchup?
I'm going to be giving Spacedude some advice before his series, but I think it's a very, very much an uphill battle, and not one I'd be super confident about them being able to do, but we'll see.
Devilesk?
You got a number on that, Matt?
What do you mean?
Yeah.
I said earlier, I think Shea 2-0 here.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'll say 60-40 in favor of Yak's team. I think they have the slight edge here.
2-0 Yak.
I'm also gonna go with. Actually, I'm saying they could take a game. I'm saying Deserted and the rest of the Space Dude squad are good enough to take one game. I'm saying 2-1 for Yak here. Fairly confident Yak's gonna win though. We're gonna put it that way.
I think the only caveat would be if Yak's team crushes game 1, I think they could have the propensity to do some stupid shit game 2 and lose. So it might go to a 3rd game.
Yeah,
I think they're the better team.
I think Yak's team is probably actually the strongest in EST Sunday. They played versus the top team was Mikel's team, and they lost to them, but they didn't have Gohan, and they just forfeited.
That's not a series.
Yeah, it's not a real series. I think these guys are definitely the team to watch from Sunday this season.
Yeah, I think Mikel's team. They played. Yeah. I agree.
All right, so let's go on to series number 3. Let's see what we got over here. Oh, we got EST Sunday's 4th seed, Do You Know the Way, aka Totally Not a Dead, meme captained by Risers, versus EST Monday's 11th seed, Foreskin, A Paradoxical Ascent to God. Let's start here with Devilesk here, because you guys have actually played up against this Gotard squad. Tell me about Foreskin, A Paradoxical Ascent to God.
Yes, Devilesk, please tell me about Foreskin.
Alright. I think this team is like almost like Poonani's team. They're like a really surprising dark horse. Have a really high opinion of Amboker. It's really high Dota IQ, I think. He just knows how to best utilize his players, comes up with a draft plan, plays to their strengths, covers for their weaknesses. When we played them, he knew that we first picked Lycan, but he wasn't scared of that at all. He just had a really solid strategy against it, and they executed it, and just beat us. I think they play, it's like one of the teams where the sum is greater than the individual parts. They don't have, an amazing, top 5 player on their team, but together, I think, they play really well together. Got a lot of value out of, their T-Swift 4 player, I think.
How the fuck did this team draft? Okay, I guess Amboker first pick or Rementoir?
No, Rementoir first pick, Amboker second, T-Swift third, and then their mid-player Maniac is fourth.
Yeah, this Maniac guy is an Ancient 2, and he went 4th round.
Is he Ancient 2 now?
That's what it says.
He was a legend at draft, and he, when we've played against them, he wasn't the most impressive mid-player we've ever seen.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's the team's biggest weakness is they lack a top-tier mid-player.
I mean, you can tell, based on their series, their mid-player Maniac has, the second lowest KDA on his team. Both of his supports have a higher KDA than he does.
Yeah,
he is, he's been struggling a bit.
Yeah, I was looking at the most recent game where, he did really well on, Sniper and shit, so...
There's definitely a comparison to be made between this team and there's a team in Sunday that didn't make playoffs, but the one captained by Accepted, where they have some better players in the side lanes than they have in the middle lane, where Stevel was their weakest link at the middle lane. I think there's a lot of comparisons to be made.
Scheduled out. Come on, give some credit.
He played well this season, but it's the same sort of team dynamic. You know what I mean? There, where it's the same. Like Ambacher and Remontoire are definitely better than Maniac, much like Accepted and Alpaca. I would say are better than Seevil. Same sort of mentality there. But we have to look at the other side of the matchup as well. We have to look at this number 4 team in EST Sunday, which is Do You Know the Way, captained by Ricers. Redondo, who is this team? What do they do?
I'm sure it was a relevant meme when they made the team, but as you said now, it's kind of dead. I believe this was the other team along with Wee's team that was like, this team's going to make playoffs. This team's a lot better than everyone says, blah, 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 blah. Their big, like, frankly, standout is ET in the mid, which frankly makes no sense to me. I've told this story a couple times. He's my buddy who started out playing only Elder Titan, so much so that his name changed to ET because we literally only called him ET. After that, he started playing a little bit off lane. Now he plays mid, and I didn't think it was going to go very well. He never really played mid, frankly, ever. And all of a sudden, he's got like 5 or 6 heroes that he's done exceptionally well on. Even like Shadow Fiend. Like, I was really surprised that he was able to play stuff like that. Like the Viper and the OD and the Medusa. Like, that all made sense to be able to play, but something with a little bit more finesse like Shadow Fiend, I was really impressed with him. So he's the star player. I think Boog, the 4 player, is a 2-time captain. I think it's his first season just as a player. I think he's really the motor of the team. You have to have really specific bans against this team, and I don't know if this team, if like the teams that, I don't know if Gotard's team. Why do you guys say Gotard, by the way? Isn't Gotard from Jimmy Neutron?
I don't know, dude. I always assumed Gotard, but no one's ever.
It's for sure Gotard. Anyway,
I'm calling it Gotard regardless. That sounds a lot more fun to say.
Alright, anyway, because Gotard was a good player in Sunday like 2 seasons ago. Anyway, I think that Gotard has to do a lot of research against this team in order to ban the right heroes. I think Boog has a lot of heroes that he can just like take over the game with. He's one of my favorite both support hero players and captains. Ricers has a little bit of a weird hero pool in the safe lane. I think he's very steady. He'll take over games randomly. He'll give you what he gives you, but he's got a couple of niche hero picks that you need to prepare for. Steve Lawrenson, he's solid. He's fine. He's a 5. He'll play 5. He'll give you good vision. He'll make some plays. He'll do his stuff. He'll do his thing. He's not going to lose you the game. Their biggest weakness, in my opinion, is their offlane, Fragner. He's fine. He plays a lot of Brutemaster. He plays some other stuff. He does fine. But I really think ET, Boog are like the core, like the real playmakers behind this team. They're solid. They're fine.
This is actually one of those matchups, though, where even though there's a very big seed disparity, I'm not quite sure if it's an actual play disparity, if you know what I mean. I can't just say with confidence that I'm not sure if this Ricers team is going to be able to handily beat the Gotard team. For that matter, I'm not even sure if Ricers team is going to win this series at all here. Because I look at the matchups, and I think it's going to require ET to do so much in the middle lane to win this series.
I mean, hey, if he's playing against the weakest player,
he's got a pretty free lane to make use of here.
The problem is the other 2 lanes. Like, sure, if you have a free middle lane, it's 1 lane. But what about the side lanes? What if you're losing the side lanes? Can Boog just carry you both of those side lanes?
I think Boog versus T-Swift is like really interesting. I didn't realize T-Swift was still playing on like a decent team. I assume this is the same guy that played in the old like Ellen Fudge stack from forever ago.
There's a different T-Swift.
Well, no. There's like the Divine 5 T-Swift, and then there's this guy. Isn't this the same guy?
I assumed you were thinking of the Divine.
No. That one's new. I think this one's like the guy who plays in that stack. He's really good though. Like that was the fun. I know he used to like win range and shit, but I think the Boog versus T-Swift matchup will really determine the outcome of the game. And I don't know. I don't know. How do you guys feel about Remontoire in the offlane?
So my initial ranking of this team when after the draft first finished was, wow, Remontoir getting picked like 10th overall. This team has made some major mistakes, but I think T Swift and Anboker are like far better than their rank would suggest.
Yeah, that's why I was surprised. Like I thought, when I see T Swift, I'd be like, okay, I'd pick him second round for sure. Like no way I'd swap over him. I'm surprised Gotard plays support too.
Yeah, T Swift was by far the biggest playmaker on this team when we played against them. He's insanely good for third round.
Did you guys beat him?
We went 1-1 with them.
Okay.
Our game 1, we were pretty sure they had a draft plan prepared if I first picked Lycan, and I decided to do it anyway, and then they outdrafted us. And then game 2, we drafted something that wasn't Lycan and won pretty handily. But
I mean, I casted that game. I wouldn't really call that game number 2 pretty handily. If
I don't really remember
serves,
it super well, but I remember winning.
That was you guys playing a fairly close game. You guys were on the back foot, and then Polo decided to go absolute god mode, do 13 billion damage on Outworld Devour, and carry you guys.
Oh, they gave us OD. Yeah, no wonder we won.
There you go. Devilesk, have you played this team?
Yes, I have played this team.
Did it not go well?
Redondo, do you know that Devilesk is on my team?
Oh, I'm retarded. That's right. I thought you were on Sasquatch's team still.
No.
My bad.
That was last season.
Yeah. My bad. Anyways, moving right along. I think 2-1 either direction. I don't. Looking at Gotard's team, like that's a fucking legit team. I think. I don't know if does Remontoir like only play Dark Willow offlane or something.
He plays a good Enigma off the top of my head.
Plays
sure
a lot
about
of it. Plays Brew, Doom.
Oh, does he play them well? Because he played Brew. Okay, I stood in for his tiny team, and he played Brew offlane. He was like, dude, give me Brew offlane. I'm so good at it. And he went like 0-8 in like 12 minutes against like a support Shadow Fiend or something. Like it wasn't very impressive.
I don't know. I've seen him own on a Brew in another tiny.
I think he has some very hit or miss games.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe he just had bad series.
My assessment of him is he either does really well or really badly, and there's not like an in-between for him.
Okay, well, I mean, I think Steve Lordson's like fine. I think you could probably lock down a lane, him and Racers, so that might be tough for Remontoir. I don't know. Like, do you think Gotard's team will do research?
I think they better. I think Anboker, Devil's on a team with him. I think Anboker tries really hard, especially in playoffs for like preparing drafts. And I know his SEAL team didn't make playoffs, so I think he's going to be devoting all his time to working on draft plans with Gotard. And I think they definitely have a chance. I think this is like a really 50-50 matchup. I could see it going either way super easily.
Actually, I'd like Devilesk to go in and talk about Anboker because he played with him last season. They went to the finals of the playoffs. What is your take on that carry player right there?
I mean, he's super smart. He really knows his shit. Just gets his team to play well. He knows like exactly what everyone should be doing, like what the team should be doing. Just has a really good read on the game. Knows what what the team should be drafting. Knows what works and what doesn't work. So I think he'll definitely come into this series with a plan.
Do you think he should have been first picked this season? Do you think he was good enough to be first picked?
Yeah, I think he's definitely a first pick material.
I agree with that.
I agree. I think that was really, really good. He was super impressive last season watching your playoff.
Yeah, he carried the shit out of us.
Sasquatch was good too. And Mike, come on.
It's like Sasquatch and Anboker.
You played too.
I was just there.
Dude, Devilesk HD support duo was legendary. You're underrating yourself right now.
He played offlane.
Didn't he play support?
No, he didn't. He didn't play offlane in playoffs. He played offlane in group stage when they were missing their offlaner.
Oh, okay.
I played offlane in one playoff game.
Yeah, I thought he played it. I thought he played it once.
I don't know. I didn't watch all their games.
Okay. I try to watch as many as possible. I was listening to my boy Badger cast some games.
There we go.
There you go.
Good plug right there. I do have one thing to say about this Ricers team is Redondo, you were right. See,
yeah, I was.
You rated this team very highly, and almost like a countermeasure when they lost the series 0-2 to I don't remember who, a team I didn't think was very good. I instantly thought this team is shit. They're not going to make playoffs. I even said it in one of my weekly reviews that one of us is going to be wrong at the end of the season. I was wrong. I apologize to Redondo and I apologize to the Ricers team. You guys are good at Dota.
Yes, you were.
But we do need an actual final verdict on who's going to win this series. Let's start off here with Matieu. What are your thoughts on the final score of this matchup?
2-1 Ricers, but it's super close. Could easily go either way. I think Ricers' team is going to be slightly stronger because especially like the past couple weeks, Gotard's team has not been performing as well as they did at the start of the season, but could go either way. 50-50 in my mind.
Devilesk?
I think it's gonna be 2-1. Gotard. I think Anboker is gonna carry his team to victory. I believe.
Redondo?
I think 2-1 Gotard. I think Anboker is going to feed off of the offlane, frankly.
You know, I'm doubling down on my incorrect predictions from
yeah, never mind. Fuck
previously.
you. 2-0 Ricers.
I was going to say 2-0 Gotard. I got faith here in Ambacher. I like this guy a lot as a player. I've played against him in pubs. I've played against him in other games. He's a good carry player. I have a lot of respect for him. I think this team's going to do well in playoffs.
Yeah, I thought he did like a really good job of like when he got a lead. I thought he did a really good job of closing that lead, and I think that against a weak link offlaner, it's a recipe for disaster for Ricers. So hopefully Boo gets to play some heroes that he's good at. Hopefully Ricers gets to play his hero.
Alright, so now we have series number 4, and actually the last scheduled series for our first batch of analysts, Devilesk and Redondo. We have EST Sundays, number 1 seed, geographically challenged, formerly captained by Venom, currently captained by Mikel, versus the lowest seed of EST Monday, the 15th seed Ham Sandwich, captained by Wundercheese. So let's talk about the underdog first. Let's talk about Ham Sandwich. Who are these guys, and how do they get the playoffs?
Well, so they started off the season like looking pretty good. Like they had a very strong run the first couple weeks, and then they ended up running into a bit of a wall and starting to lose again. They like forfeited a series. Oh, they squeezed in based on strength of season. I don't know. At no point in the season did they ever seem like anything more than a middle of the pack team, to be honest.
Has Osis been a standout for this sort of team here?
I mean, that dude's super good. I'm sure he has.
Devilesk, what is your read on this Ham Sandwich team?
See, I wasn't very impressed when we played them. I think we played them, right, Matieu?
Yeah, it's not on their Dota, but I think they forgot to ticket. Like they forgot to put their team when they played us, but we 2-0'd them, I think.
Yeah, pretty sure we just
right when they were in the middle of their winning streak. Yeah, their drafts were pretty weak. Their mid player is this, what's his name?
It's a brood picker, right? So we
yeah, man of the box. Their mid player like can only play Broodmother, and it gets banned against them basically every single week. And he really struggles basically.
One of those people.
Yeah, he struggles basically any other time. Their carry player, I think, was their 3rd pick. King Scow. He's actually been much better. Like being a 3rd pick carry, what you would expect of it. Him and Osis have been like the driving force of this team for the most part, I think. You kind of tell, like, if you look at the team's KDA, those two are like way above everyone else in the team.
Yeah,
Osis
so we just shut down Osis in our plan, right?
Yeah, we banned Brood, and then we camped Osis, and then we just kind of won the games. Like, I don't know, it's really hard, I think, to have your first pick be an offlaner in RD2L, because a lot of support duos in RD2L are weaker, but the one thing most of them understand is how to shut down an offlaner. That's like what they love to do. They just camp the safe lane, just run a tri lane every game, shut down the offlaner. That's like a basic team's bread and butter in RD2L. And so, like, when you have your
fucking rough.
yeah, you're both offlaners. Each one understands. Like, when you just have your first pick as an offlaner, it's really easy to shut them down. And then like you're dependent on the rest of your team to like try and make up for it when that tri lane happens. But if you're like weaker players are in your other cores, I think it's really hard to make something happen.
Yeah.
Like Remitore's team is another team I originally like or the one we just talked about, Gotard's team, was another one I originally said was like that weak, but they ended up having Anvoker as well, who was like basically a first pick carry player. So it's like okay that Remontoire is getting shut down a bunch because Anvoker's there to make up for it. But this team, like their carry player King Scow is really good, but I don't think he's like Anvoker level. I think it's pretty rough for this team to be matched against the top team from Sunday. I think it's really hard for them to win here.
So now we actually do need to talk about the previously mentioned #1 seed of Sunday, 13-3, geographically challenged, captained by European overlord Mikel. What is your read in this team, Redondo?
I've had a horrible read on this team for like the last 4 weeks, so I don't know if I'm the best one to be talking about them.
Hey, Redondo, I have a question. From your PPPs, what was the collective record you gave them over 8 weeks?
Probably pretty shitty. Probably like 4-12 or something. Like I feel like
you put 5-11 over the 8 weeks for them.
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel like I always predicted against this team. To be fair, it's fucking hard to predict things when their best player doesn't have an actual Dota buff. I will say that. So maybe get a real Dota buff, buddy. So obviously Mikel's kind of the starting point of discussion with this team. He's like a top 4 player in EST Sunday at worst. Like I have no concept for how good he is. I just know he like wins every fucking game and he goes like he has like insane KDAs, blah 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 blah.
Let me tell you an anecdote for those who don't follow EST Sunday that sums up Mikel Dota. See, obviously we played them 2 weeks ago, actually 8 days ago. They ended up 2-0ing us. Game number 2, they played a Core Kunkka. He one-shot me multiple times that game.
Yeah, well, you picked Phantom Lance. It's your fucking fault.
You actually are correct. But you have a really, really farmed Phantom Lancer in that matchup. Not really farmed. Sorry, you have a really farmed Hunter. Like, he's just one-shotting me with like a Daedalus. I don't know how he's critting on every single crit, but every single crit he's critting me and I'm dead. And his European friends commentated that game and they were freaking out like, oh my god, Mikel, he is destroying this team. And I'm like, please, help me, I'm dying. That was what happened. He just destroyed us. Like him, and actually, obviously you mentioned a lot of Mikel, but we need to mention some of the supporting cast too, because there's some very strong players at the other roles too. Obviously, Loves Muffins, one of the more famous names from EST Sunday. He's having an absolutely great season there. He's been playing very well at the 4 support for this team on heroes like Clockwork, heroes like Naga Siren. He's actually been a very... He's been definitely playing above his perception this season. There is zero doubts about that. In addition, their offlaner, Pawpaw, straight out of Peru, very good Bat Rider, very good Omni Knight player. He's been playing fairly well for this team as well, but he's a very, very aggressive player. If you're not ready for that, he's going to kill you repeatedly.
Yeah, hopefully he doesn't lose any items this game. I know he had a problem with some Tranquil Boots a couple weeks ago.
He did lose his Tranquil Boots.
He's tried dropping items against a fucking safe lane sniper, and sniper just A-clicked him. Just like, oh, I guess he doesn't have Tranquil Boots anymore.
For me, the thing that strikes me about this team is Lala is I think the reputation that Loves gives himself from posting in Discord, I think dissuaded a huge amount of captains from wanting to pick him. So he went, I think, like middle to end of the 4th round, and then he ended up grinding to like Ancient. So like having like a pretty like good Ancient player in the 4th round, I think is what made this team much stronger.
It was pick 7 3rd round if memory serves.
No, he was a 4th round.
He was 4th round.
It went Mikel.
Wait, they picked Compressed Urk over Loves. I was gonna say because it was Mikel 1st round, Papa 2nd round, Loves in the 3rd round.
The 3rd round?
I was putting Rubity on that team, but I forgot he was a free agent ad for Venom.
Yeah, he was the free agent for Venom.
Yeah. Maybe Loves was there. I don't know. I thought that Loves got a little underdrafted for where he is. I know he's, like you said, he's a bit of a meme at this point, but in terms of being a Dota player, I think he's very, very underrated. I've talked about it a lot. I think Rubity, the safe laner, is like the quintessential I am a solid safe laner, I will do fine on any hero. I've talked about it a couple times. If I think of a hero that goes with a player, I think of Dragon Knight going with Rubity. Like, he's there, he'll do his thing, he'll be fine. Mikel is really the point of discussion for this team. Sometimes he might be scared because there's a Divine 2 safe laner on the other team, even though he only plays Brood. So he might go in the safe lane this series. He's been known to dodge some mid matchups against better better players, which is very sad.
I think Rubini definitely strikes me as one of the more underrated people in RD2L. He's like played, I think, for a long time. I know I remember playing against him like 6 seasons ago or something when I was in EST Thursday, and he was like legit mid player. And he's still like, he's just good. Like he's never gonna have a bad game, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
He always does okay. He always does.
Yeah, he's always going to be a above average player on your team. I think like the real variables are Papa and Loves though. Like those are the two. If both of them have a good game, this team's fucking hard to beat. Which is how this team ended up as the number one team. If both of them have bad games and they're definitely both capable of having bad games, then this team's pretty shit. Which is where the 5-11 record comes from. I'm glad someone went back and added up all the fucking scores. Thanks, guys. Appreciate that. Who did that? Do you know? Do you remember off the top of your head? Don't go back and look.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you. Can you guess who it was, Redondo?
I mean, I would guess Loves would be the obvious choice, but I'm sure there's a bunch of bitter people out there that are doing some math and doing some digging.
Yeah, I'm not gonna tell you to do the math. You'll find out later, I'm sure.
I'm sure there's a compilation of ways that I'm wrong somewhere. Maybe Mikel did that. I don't know. I think this is I mean, now that I see that this guy's a brood spammer, I think it's a pretty good matchup for this team. Like, I think, like, Loves and Compressor and Rubity should be fine against Sosis. Like, it's always hard to be an offlaner, like you guys mentioned.
I do have a correction, though. Loves actually was 4th round. I was incorrect, because he was Legend 0 at the draft.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I could have sworn. I ended up being wrong.
You're supposed to be the Sunday expert.
I am the Sunday expert. I got it right. Fuck you. He's just the host. Don't give him any more credit. He doesn't need any.
That's fair. That's fair.
Fucking playoff teams, dicks. I'm bitter. I'm signing up for Tiny, guys. Come draft me. I'll start playing Dota again. I'm not traveling anymore.
We actually should eventually get to some kind of results on what these teams should end up being. Obviously, number 1 seed EST Sunday versus the last seed of EST Monday with a Broodmother spammer now. I'm sure, probably I'm a ban on Broodmother. What do you think the result's going to be here?
I know Mikel's team only does their research by listening to the BRR, so thank God we mentioned that, did the research for him. I think Mikel's team will win 2-0. There you go. Maybe I should predict him to go 0-2 because that's how they've done so well. But I think 2-0.
I think 2-0 as well. I'm like 70% sure. I feel like this Wundercheese team has it in them to make an upset, but I don't know. They just they haven't just done anything really impressive so far. Mikel probably wins this easily.
Devilesk?
I think it's going to be 2-0 stomp for EST Sunday.
Well, someone clip that, please.
Yeah, I want to see Rubity do well. He was on my Season 9 team with Kstigs. I think that's when we beat Matieu in the playoffs. I played support Huskar, pretty sure.
Yeah, that's accurate.
That's the most Devilesk thing I've ever heard in my entire life, dude. But I also am going to stick with the group here. I'm going to go for the 2-0 Mikel win. I have a very high opinion of Mikel. For anybody who's watched any of my content can tell. But we are going to a bit of a personnel shift soon. We are going to be swapping out Devilesk. We should be swapping out Redondo, but our backup for Redondo is currently late. So Devilesk.
Well, before they leave, Devilesk and Redondo, who do you predict to win the whole thing? If you were gonna guess right now, who's gonna win the tournament?
I don't fucking know.
Come on, just guess someone. I put it in my bracket. I predict Sasquatch team to win.
I don't know enough about the Monday teams. Like, I feel like you have to know about the Monday teams to pick. Like, who's on Kstigs team? I know he's got like 3 really good players.
Gofu, Smack, Kstigs, Dark Smoke, and one other support who I can't remember.
It's okay. That's 4. And who's the number 2 Monday team? Snow?
Snow, Torn, Mizzy, Kizu, and another support.
It's okay. Expecting all 5 players is always hard. I just need like top 3.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I just gotta pick a Sunday team because I'm from Sunday, so I'm gonna say Yaks team. No. Yeah, I'm gonna say Yaks team.
Actually, Devilesk, I can ask you this question later, because Devilesk actually is coming back on eventually for some of the late night power hour. I think he's going to be leaving Kstigs at around 9:30ish, so that'll be fun. We'll have him back on later. But thank you, Devilesk. We'll see you in about, what is it, 2.5 hours?
Wait, who does Devilesk think is going to win?
Alright, Devilesk, who do you think's going to win now?
Gonna have to go with the feed stack.
Oh,
Gotta put my team in the final, just like I did last season, and look what happened.
I have one other question, Devilesk. Is that prediction going to change when you come back on later, free from Matieu?
No.
Good.
Sounds very confident.
Alright, thanks, Devilesk. I'll see you later, man.
Alright, see you later. Thanks for having me.
But now, out with the Devilesk, in with the other EST Monday player and captain. We are now joined by the captain of the number 2 EST Monday team, Snow. How you doing, Snow?
I'm well. There are 4 dogs in my house.
That sounds excellent.
that sounds pretty great.
What type of dogs do you have?
I have Cavalier King Charles Spaniels.
I don't know what he just said.
You lost me. I'm sorry. My girlfriend's in vet school. I should probably know what those are.
They're the... I actually can't remember.
Are they yappy ones? Like tiny
Nah,
dogs?
they're sleepy ones.
Oh, so they're big dogs. Okay.
Nah, they're lap dogs, but they sleep about 25 hours a day.
It's a long time. It's a pretty solid dog. Do you want me to stick around for this series?
Yeah,
or
I want
wait
you
for
to
Sam?
stick around for one more series because
Okay.
Our substitution for Redondo, currently
It's
not
okay.
here, but he'll be there eventually.
I owe Sam $15, and I think this is like a $5 fee. So this is fine.
It's already $5 of interest on the payment.
Cut that down to down to 10.
But we are going to go into series number 5 for on the agenda. We got EST Monday's very own Dog Food Backwards, the 6th seed, versus EST Sundays, the boys, captained by Dongerclose. Let's talk first here about this Monday team, Dog Food Backwards, captained by genuinely nice human being, Sunshine Duck. Very good players in the likes of Paradise and Verve. What are your guys' reads on this team? Snow, you want to start here?
Yeah, I'm really torn on this team because Verb was good enough to carry me of all people playing mid to a Echo League Season 1 win. But I feel like with jungle nerfs, it's really limited his, honestly, meme strats. He used to do shit like Jungle Tinker and Officials and actually win very convincingly with it. But now he's actually got to play normal core heroes. And I mean, he's not bad by any stretch, but I was really expecting them to do a lot better, and having the Verve second round kind of limits him, in my opinion. I wouldn't count them out yet. Paradise is still very good, but have they settled on where they want Paradise playing? Is he playing mid, or is he playing support now? I know they swapped him around like twice.
Isn't he playing mid for them?
He might be back to mid. I know they swapped him to support for like 1 or 2 weeks, and that didn't end very well. I think Verona. I know Duke God. I mean, he's got to be good because he has God in the name. I know Verona's a very solid 3rd round pick, and then SSD benches himself a lot, but I don't think he's benching himself for playoffs, and he's a value player for his badge.
Currently, Paradise is playing carry for the team from the mouth of Paradise himself.
Yeah, that looks right.
Isn't Verve like the guy who just goes like Razor offlane and shit and wins like 1v3?
He's creative.
Spectre offlane, boys.
He's like the inspiration for trying to play like dumb shit on the offlane and make it work.
Max is
the guy. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like
I
Verona's
remember.
playing
I
mid.
think it was Echo League, Matt, that he beat us in, wasn't it? And he played like Razor and Tiny or something, and just like crushed us both games.
Was Verve on the
Yeah,
Sasquatch Dark team?
yeah, he was the
Oh,
offlane.
then yeah.
He's really good at the offlane. I don't understand how he plays it though. It makes not a lot of sense to me. I think obviously Paradise is fucking good. I don't know. Matt, you want to talk about this team?
This is actually one of the like 2 teams in EST Monday that I've never played or scrimmed. I don't know. I think this team has. I think they had one of the lowest strength seasons. They like lost their like 3 of their first 4 games or something. So they like fell super low, and then they've just kind of beat up a bunch of bad teams. I think they've only actually played like of the 15 EST Monday teams that made playoffs, I think they played a total of 3 of them, and 2 of those were like Spacedude and some other team that are like, you know, like some of the lower ranked playoff teams. They've had like an incredibly easy road to playoffs. They've like, you know, never had a tough matchup basically.
How good is Verona in the mid lane? Isn't he like Poonani's friend or something?
I know he's teamed with Poonani a bunch. I've never like seen him play mid. I haven't watched any of their series. I can't tell you huge amounts. Snow, have you played this team?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you guys are the 2 top teams and they haven't played any of the good playoff teams, probably not you guys, right?
They're 2 of the top teams, not the 2 top teams, but they're up there.
No.
Close enough. Kstigs.
Kstigs crypto cult. Feels bad.
I've never actually played with like Verona. I know like Poonani and a couple people think really highly of him, but I don't know. I have no opinion on like a lot of people on this team.
Yeah, I think Paradise is like super fucking good. Obviously, we haven't really talked about him much.
Paradise like fluctuates a bunch. Like I know he like grinded super high to 6K a couple times, then he like plummeted super low. I think right now he's like 5.5K or something.
I think he was trying to drop.
Swaps a bunch.
I think he was trying to drop because of he thought like you could lose badges or something. So he just dropped to like 4.8K because he was trying to tank his draft stock in mini. And then like he realized he couldn't lose badges anymore or something.
We do have a special guest appearance though from somebody who actually played against Sunshine Duck's team. Quick little appearance from Senior Poonani, who actually has played up against Sunshine Duck. You guys have played them. What's your thoughts on this team?
They are very good. All of their players are very value for where they got drafted. Verve, I think, is... I don't know what Snow is smoking, but you are highly underrating him. He's like very good at offlane.
No, I think he's one of the best offlaners in the league. I'm just saying he can't do his meme strats anymore, which he's not happy about.
He can pull him off. That Razor offlane looks terrifying.
Is he still pulling the max dispersion Spectre offlane?
Yeah, I played them, and they actually do a good job of... Like, Paradise is drafting very well. He knows how, except for the game he just threw against us. I don't know if it was like pity letting us get the
Paradise
playoffs.
drafting, not SSD?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Paradise is drafting. He plays safe lane. Verona plays mid, and Verve plays off lane. And SSD and Doof God will like roam around as support. And I think this team's like biggest strengths are Verve can demand a lot of attention in his offlane, which gives like Paradise good like 1v1 lanes so he doesn't get camped as the best player, and it can kind of let Verona be unmolested mid by enemy supports, which helps a lot when he's just drawing that attention, because Paradise will win his lane 1v1. Verona will get levels and he'll come back with the team and Paradise's farm, and then they can execute whatever game plan they have, like push strat or map control, whatever. But I think this team lives and dies by Verve.
Thank you, Poonani. Thank you for the insight.
Are you guys surprised that they only played Jug twice? Like I thought that was Paradise's like second best hero behind Monkey King.
I think his carry pool is actually fairly versatile. I think he gets like estimated to only be like a carry player or like a Monkey King player. He's a surprisingly deep pool.
I don't know. Like I remember when we played him in Mini, he played Jug, and we were just like, oh, I don't know. I thought he was good, really good at Jug too. But anyways, the Donger closest team.
Yeah, we do have to talk about the Donger Close team right here. What are your guys' thoughts? I mean, let's talk about Redondo. Redondo, you should know here. What's your thoughts here on Donger Close, the boys, the Donger Close, Nifum, Zypher Tricore team? What's your thoughts here?
I'm fairly happy that this team did not match up against a team with like those super high support players. I think like the recipe for success for this team is Nifum gets a really good start mid, and that's the recipe for success. It's basically Nifum is the boomer bust player on this team, hands down, bar none. I talked about Ruby last series being like a super solid, like always consistent player. I think Donger Close is like the exact same thing, but a little bit better. And like with the capability of taking over, I think they like as a 1-2 punch. I think they can like Donger is always going to be fine. He's going to do pretty well. He's going to play like Sven. He's going to play like, well, I guess last season Sven. He's going to play Sven. He's going to play like OD. And then Niffle will play like TA or Lena, like those really high variability heroes. Support player Zypher is the old like 5.5k 5-position player, like when 5.5k was super, super good. He's been playing and like crushing on Witch Doctor, which is kind of random. I legitimately think you need to like first phase ban Witch Doctor against this team, which is really, really strange.
Witch Doctor might be the most RD2L support right now currently. Like I think every single team that's winning is using Witch Doctor. It's like last season with Spirit Breaker. Everybody's using it now.
Can confirm.
Minah's team has this Witch Doctor player who went like, I think he's like Legend 2 or something, and he went like 18, 1, and 20 as Witch Doctors. Like it was retarded. Like it was so fucking good. But anyway, so Zypher's a really, really good 5 player. Offlaner Kino, I think you have him down here as Obsidian.
People keep changing their names, are not guaranteed to have accurate names.
He wasn't even signed up as Kino. It fucking pisses me off. But yeah, Kino, Plebeian, whatever. He's fine. I think he normally plays carry, so like kind of plays those types of heroes. And then Nil's the 4 player. He kind of plays sort of 5e roles or 5e heroes, but like I said earlier, Niflheim is the driving force behind this team. I think he has like the potential to play up to anyone, and then he also has the potential to lose to anyone. He's like that type of player.
I think he's a really weak player. I think this team is going to lose because of it.
Ooh, Matieu, come in, man.
I would love to get Zamolxes' opinion of Niflheim on here. I think he'll back me up. Like Niflheim legitimately could be a 4K flat player, or he could be a 5.5K player, depending on what day it is. Like and that's it. Like literally no other indicator of whether he's going to be super good or super bad.
I've got a small sample size, but I've only
specifically grabbed in talk about Niflheim. Zam, what are your thoughts on Niflheim?
Alright, dude. Niflheim is a really good player, really young, tends to tilt super fast. If you ruin his lane, you ruin the game for them, and that's about it.
Yeah, like that's why I said like if this team was against like a 5K support player, like I think this team would be fucked because that guy would just ruin Niflheim's game. And like if Verona is a fine player, like you guys said, I know Poonani came in and said he was really good, but he kind of said everyone was really good. If Niflheim could get a good start, he's like the kind of player that can easily take over a game. But on the other hand, he's the type of player that can easily lose the entire game for his team. So
didn't he bid on EOS? Tiny?
He had like some dog shit support or some dog shit tiny team. I don't remember what it was.
He picked Loves, and actually,
yeah, EOS Loves.
No, EOS was the Strider team.
Oh, you're right.
That was me, dude. That was me.
He had him and one other support player from Sunday. Oh, it's gonna bug me. God damn it! I can't remember who it was. It was Tricksterlad, right?
I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Tricksterlad. Who I think the 3 of them just like tilt each other. So I think that was kind of the meme, like among Sunday. I don't know. I don't keep up with that well. I'm a little removed from all the meme shit. Like Niflheim could easily win the game. It could easily lose the game for his team. That's like the basically the biggest question mark with this team is it good Niflheim or is it bad Niflheim? Because good Niflheim's really, really good and bad Niflheim's really, really bad.
Let's get a result, though. Let's go all the way down the line from top to bottom. Get the actual verdict on this matchup here. Start with Matt here. Results?
SSD 2-0, 99% sure.
Redondo?
I think Verve is just gonna kind of make Donger miserable. I think maybe Zypher will help out. 2-1 SSD.
Snow?
Playing against Verve is a very miserable experience. So if Niflheim does tilt that easy, it's probably 2-0, 2-1 either way for SSD.
Zam?
2-1 SSD. I think Niflheim's good enough to take a game off of them, but he's gonna tilt for the rest.
Yeah, that was kind of my thoughts too. I think like Zypher, like the Zypher Donger versus Verve matchups, like super interesting though. We didn't talk about that much.
Also, Zypher's super calm as a player. I think he has good influence on Niflheim, but is it good enough? I don't know.
Probably not.
I'm gonna go with 2-0 for SSD with a caveat. If it's going to be games won, they're going to do it before. If Dongers is going to win games, it's going to be before they lose games. Like if they're gonna lose 1-2, they're gonna win game 1, lose the next 2 games. If they're gonna win the series, it's gonna be 2-0 win. I think that's at least.
If SSD wins game 1, I think there's no way Donger wins game 2. So.
All right, thank you, Redondo, for coming on for the super special playoff prediction show and putting in your good 1 hour 15 minutes.
Oh, thanks everyone. Thanks Badger for the fun season of BRR. I look forward to doing it again next season, which means you're locked in. See you guys.
See you, Redondo. Thanks for coming on. But now it's time for us to jump into series number 6 between EST Monday's very own Snow and the EST Sunday 12 seed Silou. Since we actually have Snow here, the actual captain of the number 2 Monday team, why don't you talk about your team real fast in a totally non-biased way?
No bias. I don't want to spend too much time talking about my team, but I think what sets us apart is mainly the fact that we have a super value position 4, despite having a brain dead position 5. So we're able to just completely run at people a lot of the times, and we like to take mid-game momentum. We aren't, other than Mizzy, none of us really like to sit back and farm. So when we end up in, we come back from more than a few losing situations, but generally we want to win our lanes. We want to end before 30 minutes, so Mizzy can get to bed at 5 a.m. his time.
It is true that Mizzy, he is from the UK, correct?
Yeah, he prefers to be called a Brexit refugee.
What is it like playing with Torn, actually? Obviously, Torn, one of the more notorious players in the RD2L. Definitely, many people would say he's definitely your best player on that team. What does he do for your team? Well,
but before I talk about what he does right now, I do have a quick anecdote for you. Torn and I used to hate each other, and if you go and look at our Discord logs, back there, it's both of us calling each other absolute garbage. Because one of my teammates had beef with Torn, and they were both... my teammate was in the wrong, I didn't know it at the time. And actually, this is the first time Torn and I made up by me picking him, and he didn't have a choice, because my other pick got sniped. But surprisingly, he's been a super positive player. He's like actually the anti-tilt in our team. Whenever one of us is starting to get upset with the way the game is going, he's the one who will like stabilize the situation, which is super uncommon in first rounders in RD2L. And generally we can just assume that he will win his lane, and whenever we're ready to fight, he'll have been ready to fight for a few minutes. He's probably the most solid part of our team.
What, is there that much surprise, though? Was there enough surprise to merit multiple wheelchair emojis in your official RD2L name with a Torn first pick coming through? That's the question, though.
I think everyone expected Torn to get first picked. I don't think people expected him to get, 10th overall, or what draft position were you, Snow? You were pretty early, right?
I was 9 or 11 or something.
Yeah, I don't think people expected it to be that early of a Torn pick. I think Torn has definitely, deserved it, though. Torn has definitely proved this season he's, able to compete with basically any mid player in the league. When I look at Snow's team, I just think, every player on their team is pretty consistent. There's no clear weak link on the team. I think they're all pretty good at their roles, and I don't think any of them struggle. I think the main weakness of this team is Snow, you can correct me if I'm wrong. A lot of the times watching their games, it feels like they don't have as strong shot calling or leadership as some of the other teams in the league.
Yeah, I often not all the time, but I take the role of shot calling a lot. But when we're in a losing situation and I have brown boots and 2 wards to my name and that's it, it's really hard for me to make calls because I can't do jack shit. And then it falls on my course to know when we can actually do something. That is kind of an issue for us.
Obviously, you guys have played up against number 1 team in the EST Monday Division, Kstigs Crypto Cult. You guys have drawn 2 games to 2. Do you think your team is able to go very deep in this playoffs, make a big run here?
I'm confident. I think that we'll get to. We'll at least make top 4 in my opinion. I obviously have some bias there, but I'm fairly sure we're one of the strongest team, or not. I didn't mean to say that. We're one of the most consistent teams. We don't have very many tilting players. We have one. I'm not going to name any EXPs. Oops. But I'm fairly confident in top 4. I think. Well, beyond that, it depends on if Sasquatch is on our side of the bracket or not.
If you were to play him, you play him in semis.
Okay, then yeah. Then I think top 4.
Obviously, we're already maybe stepping a little bit too far forward saying this team is going to semis. We have to talk about their first round opponent first. I'll talk about this tier 999 team captained by Silou. Zamolxes, what is your take on this team here?
The cores are pretty weak as individual players. The captain is an excellent player. He's probably one of the best, if not the best position for I've ever seen. He was able to, against many scrims against us, and even the officials, he just takes care of his team by himself. He shot calls really well. He drafted 2 of his friends, so they know each other pretty well, so they have the synergy with going. Additionally, it doesn't matter what heroes you ban against him. I know I banned the 5 roaming heroes, and he just picked Nyx and demolished us. He always finds some hero that can ban all possible heroes against him, and he's always gonna have this hero that he's just gonna run around the map and make him miserable. Your mid's gonna be sad, your safe end's gonna be sad. If you're very out of position, he's gonna be on top of you and you're gonna die. And it's really rough to play against him. But if you make sure his scores aren't doing great, and they're probably not going to do great since you're pretty weak players, they should be fine. Snow should be fine.
This is one of those teams where do they have any chance, any reasonable chance of being better at more than one position in this Dota game?
No.
Are you sure this is the correct roster for a tier 999?
I don't know, dude. I honestly don't know. I think it is. I'm pretty sure it is. I'm not sure.
Villain was actually on my tiny team, and I was telling him.
No, this is not the correct roster.
Yeah, okay. Villain just stood in for these guys. Then.
Yeah, they had stand-ins. They've had to use stand-ins the past 2 weeks. They, I think, are going to have their original roster back in playoffs. Silou told me, but.
This is why I don't have their correct roster. Is if they're using a stand-in every single one of the last 2 weeks, it's extremely hard to actually.
It's only 2 weeks. I think they had their normal roster before that.
Against us, there is an actual roster, and in scrims, we scrimmed them maybe 4 times. They always use a roster.
They just had a really rough time the last 2 weeks with getting everyone together, but they should be fine in playoffs.
It's one of those teams you don't expect them to do good. They were placed super low by Redondo and by most people looking at the draft, and they just came out of nowhere through the captain, who's really good and just manages his team properly. It's hard to say why they're doing good, but they just are.
Yeah, Silou's an amazing player. He and I have been trying to, we've queued into each other a bunch in solo queue, and I've always been impressed by him. He's a super legit support and offlaner. He understands the game really well. He doesn't tilt. I'm really impressed by Silou. I think that he's probably the main reason his team has made playoffs.
Yeah, he's absolutely the backbone of the team.
Yeah. I think just a really good forward position is probably not enough to take down Snow's team, though.
You never know. I thought the same thing about most teams, and they still either drawn or won games against really good teams by having their forward do amazing and be a pain for everybody on the map. You cannot give him Tusk, you cannot give him Nyx, you cannot give him half the roaming heroes. It's rough. That's your bounty, a bunch of heroes you just don't want to see him on.
He's played Coddle too. He's played a lot of different heroes in his games. But we do want to see, do any of these players on the panel give a single game to Silou? Let's go bottom to top this time. Sam, what is your prediction on the results of the series?
It really depends on how Silou performs. I think they could win, but I doubt it. It's probably going to be 2-1 for Snow.
Snow?
Speaking completely objectively here, I think we 2-0 them.
Matt?
2-0 for Snow's team.
I'm also going to go with the 2-0. I think it's a very good analysis. I think they're going to win this series. I have casted a lot of these torn first pick coming through games. I'm pretty impressed by this team. Let's put it that way. But we now need to move on to series number 7. We have EST Monday's very own Hungry Hungry Homeless versus EST Sunday's No Sana No Life. Let's talk first here about the Monday team. Obviously, MJJ, one of the more, how do you describe them? Long-standing captains in the division? How do you describe this team?
MJJ won, I think, season 10. He's a
I've
champion. He
been
then went
waiting to
on.
talk about this one.
Oh, you know him better. You take over.
All right, MJ is my boy. He was my captain for Echo League season 1 and season 2 as well. I know he's. Sorry, I kind of jumped past your question. I will say that MJ is probably the most eccentric captain in all of RD2L. Most likely that includes EU RD2L. He drafts bizarre shit in scrims. It's like in scrims, he doesn't even. A lot of teams try to win in scrims, get some morale. He'll just pick shit like support Ember because he says, "Well, if I don't try it, how do I know it's unplayable?" He's been around the block. I think he's been playing Dota for a long time, longer than I've known Dota existed, and it shows a lot in his game sense. He's very calm and rational. Like even in you have one range Drax left and you're holding high ground, he's still very calm and rational. He's one of the most grounded players in RD2L, despite his eccentricities in drafting.
He's an amazing voice.
Oh yeah, MJ wins best voice RD2L.
Oh, wait a minute.
You're bad, I'm sorry.
Trizin Dota? You're giving them over Trizin?
You guys haven't heard MJJ's voice if you think it's a competition.
Does Trizin actually play RD2L?
Good point. Very good counterpoint.
Yeah, it's no contest with the RD2L players. It's just, I just want to sit in his comms
So,
during the game. It's
getting
just
a bit-
chill, man.
I think a bit past MJJ, so to the rest of his team. These guys were like, when the draft first happened, I thought they were going to be a really strong team, because Jeff Curry is an amazing player, and then they got Divine 3 player and Eos in the second round. And I was like, wow, on paper this is pretty good, like one of the stronger captains, MJJ, 2 really good players. Then they went straight to dumpster. They went 1-5 their first 3 weeks. They had a player pseudo feeding down lanes in official matches. Looked pretty over.
Was Aos feeding down lanes?
That's how Curry described it to me. I don't wanna say anything else on that, but it wasn't great. But MJJ said he had no doubt his team would turn it around, and they did it. They have the lowest strength of season of any team in playoffs. Abysmally low strength of season, but they're like the 7th seed because they managed to get 10 wins. I don't actually know if they... Hold on. I think they only played 2 teams that ended up making playoffs in their entire time. Of the 15 teams in EST Monday made playoffs, they played 2 of them.
Looks like they lost to Kstigs. They 1-1 to Ripley, and then they 2-0'd Wundercheese. That's 3, correct?
Oh, Wundercheese, I missed. You're right. They had Hot Boy Club in one of their names. Yeah, you're right. 3 teams.
That's still a fairly weak strength of schedule, though. There's a couple teams I'm looking at this list, and these are guys who have lost most of their Dota games. Let's put it that way. Not a very high strength of schedule there.
A lot of teams make playoffs based on strength of schedule, though. They do terribly at first, and then they face all the terrible teams, and they end up making playoffs because of it. It happens every season.
Mm-hmm.
This is Silou is one of those that we talked about earlier. MGJ might be the same. I know Team last season did the same. But it always happens. It's just the way the format is built.
I would like to point out that MJ, I think they were put into Season 10 playoffs based on strength of schedule. They barely made it, and they ended up winning the whole thing.
That's right.
We do have to talk about their opponents, though. That is EST Sunday's very own No Sana, No Life, captained by Shmeezzy, featuring obviously a very strong player in Skip, but a pretty good supporting cast around him. Zam, have you guys played these guys this season or no?
Yeah, we got told by them.
What happened in that 2-0? Why did you guys lose? What is the strengths of this team?
I remember before the game, Octane told me you should probably ban Morphling. What do I do game 1? I don't ban Morphling. He picks Morphling, goes 15-0. Skip. And game 2 first ban opening, and he picks up Amber, who's absolutely awful right now. He goes like 21-5. Skip is the only decent player in that team, but he's good enough to take over the entire game by himself and to carry his team on his back. If you're somehow able to shut Skip down, you're doing good, but he's really hard to shut down. He's a really good player, and he makes up for the rest of his team not being that good. The mid is pretty decent though. I think the captain is pretty weak. Their leadership is pretty weak. They don't seem to work both that together, but Skip is just doing his own thing and winning games.
This appears to be one of those teams, I mean, we played against them as well this season, where a lot of their victory condition lies with one player. Obviously, Skip being that leaderboard divine player, extremely strong carry player. But this team isn't complete bums outside of that. Treat Yourself is a fairly decent mid laner, ancient level mid laner. And they have a bunch of players in this team who I think understand the whole concept of playing around the team. It basically means play around Skip. But in this sense, it kind of is playing around the team. There is, I mean, we happened to play against them, I believe, week number 5, back when ESOB was on top of the world, great times. We just banned out Skip's heroes. We literally banned out 6 carry heroes every single game, and it was a fairly effective way of beating this team 2-0, because we pretty much got Skip into a situation where he wasn't able to actually play his more comfortable / stronger heroes, and they really weren't able to play within the system that they were playing to win before that. I think they had like Skip on an offlane Bat Rider one game. It looked a bit weird and it didn't work out for them that well. But there's also a lot of concerns with drafts, I think, for this team, because if MJJ is one of the premier drafters of the RD2L, I feel like they may have some severe problems here going into this playoff series. Any thoughts on that?
I don't remember who's drafting for them, but I think it's Shmeezzy. And Shmeezzy is, to put it nicely, pretty bad.
MJ actually
I wasn't
has
putting it nicely at all.
I mean, that's nicer for me. If I don't know MJJ. If he's a good drafter, he's probably gonna have the advantage because I don't see Shmeezzy doing much. He's just gonna give Skip whatever hero he wants, and other than that, it's gonna be a bit lackluster.
Something that I think is worth noting is I think momentum is super important in RD12. MJJ's team was struggling a lot early, but they're 5-1 the last 3 weeks for RD12. Of course, you can say it wasn't against great teams. They role swapped a bit. MJJ was originally playing mid for this team. I think he moved to off lane and they moved Eos to mid, and it's worked a lot better than them for them. I think they figured out some of their issues. I think they're feeling a lot better than they were, 4 or 5 weeks ago. And I think that means a lot going into playoffs, having that momentum behind you. I think Shmeezzy's team is they've done okay the past couple weeks, but not as good as MJJ's team. They don't have the same momentum, I think.
This actually is a pretty interesting question, though. How big is momentum in RD2L? Because, I mean, perhaps I'm speaking as a player who may be on the wrong end of momentum right now. How important is momentum in these RD2L playoff situations?
I think extremely. None of these teams are well-oiled professional teams. It's all a bunch of mongoloids who have come together to try and have some fun playing dotes in a semi-competitive setting, right? And going into this season, we thought we were going to suck. We went 1-1 against Kstigs, and we thought, yeah, well, we lost to Smack Mid. We're really going to blow. It turned out that was the number 1 seed, and we ended up being the number 2 seed. We got a lot of wins in a row and just kept feeling more and more untouchable. And then as soon as we actually did lose a game, I think we went 1-1 3 weeks in a row, because we were brought down from that untouchable state where nothing could beat us.
The thing is, you're still at the pretty high spot of, I believe, 12-4, correct?
I don't know what my record is. I think that's it.
We're a little more deeper into the arc of, having momentum being lost right now, if you follow any bit of ESD Sunday, let's put it that way.
I think momentum is super important, especially maybe among higher mark players, but just in general, if you start losing, it's really easy in RD12 to get down on yourself and be like, man, this team's over, I'm ready to go for the next season, it's time to just give up and move on. And I think there are a lot of, specific players and teams that do that. I think if you, go on a roll and win a bunch of weeks in a row, I think that confidence really matters for actually winning games.
I agree with Matieu. Momentum is really important, and having crushed really hurts. I know it hurt me this season. It hurt me last season as well. It hurt me pretty much every season I played RD2L. Um, Once you lose momentum and you get ready to move on to the next season, you just don't have that flame that makes you win games that you shouldn't win. I know this week I knew I was making playoffs. I just walked into the game. I didn't think I would make playoffs. I walked into the game without practice. I haven't played in like a week, and you just don't care as much once you have this downturn that things are going to go bad middle way. And it's if you have the opinion and if you're thinking that you're going to stomp and you're going to do good, you're more likely to do good than if you're negative about it. And winning games week after week helps you a lot to be positive.
What is your guys' predictions, though, on the result of the series up against MJJ versus Shmeezzy? Let's start with Snow this time. What's your predictions here, Snow?
I can tell you exactly how this is going to go down. It's going to go down exactly like Echo League Finals. MJ is going to see the other team's undefeated on some hero. He's going to say, well, I could just ban it, but let's expect them to pick it and make this strategy around it. And then game one, they're going to pick whatever it is. For us, it was Empyrean Abaddon. They're going to get absolutely destroyed by it. And then he's going to be like, fine, I'll ban it. And then he's going to draft he has a functioning brain for the next 2 games, and he'll win. It's going to be 2-1 MJ.
Zam?
Yeah, I agree with 2-1 MJ, not for those reasons, but because Skip is probably going to take a game over on his own. And if MJ shuts him down for other 2 games, it should be fine, because the rest of his team is pretty mediocre.
Matt?
I think it's probably 2-1 MJ. I think it could go either way. I think MJ's team has really not been tested in a while, and I think they could find themselves actually struggling, but they probably win here. I think it could easily go either way, though. I don't obviously know the Shmeezzy team as well as Zamolxes, but I think on paper that team could win this.
I will say one last thing on this matchup. Shmeezzy's team, I think, has the advantage of their players don't refuse to scrim with each other because they hate each other so much.
That's true. That's true.
The team players hate each other?
Curry and Aos. I mean, maybe they've made up, but they were very...
There was very public hatred a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, MJ was staying positive, though. Props to him.
MJ is a very positive lad. Anytime I've seen him talk about his team, he's super positive. I really respect it.
If that thing implodes during the game or during the series, you could see a GG after 10 minutes. If it's really that bad. I guess it depends on more than play factor if they kill each other that badly.
I'm going to say 2-0, actually. I'm going against the grain here. I think MJJ is going to not make severe issues in the drafts. I think he's going to have flashes of brilliance instead.
Ooh.
I think he's going to have a much better... You guys are saying he's going to lose a game. But despite all the internal problems, despite the definite potential of them completely blowing it, I think they're actually going to start winning this series 2-0 right now. That's at least... I'm making a hot take right there.
Little tidbit for you guys that not everyone watching might know. MJ has his own subreddit and blog about drafting in Dota and analyzing it from a strategy aspect.
Is that the Our Captains Mode subreddit?
Yeah, and he also has, I think, captainsmode.blogpress.com, and he always signs off with GG, worst captain ever.
So I'm going to be heading off here soon, but I wanted to ask Snow, who do you think is going to win this season of RD2L?
Well, I obviously have some bias, so I'll exclude myself for the sake of argument. I'm not saying we will win, but I think we have a good shot. I think Sasquatch.
Alright, that was the same I predicted then.
Why Sasquatch, though? Is Sasquatch's team that great? They don't have the best cores in the game. Is Sasquatch
because, just from my experience in EST month this season, we lost to Kstigs somewhat convincingly in our first game, and then we absolutely stomped them the next game. It was a similar thing with Poonani, where they beat us. It's not super close, but we put up a fight, and then the next game as a stomp, we barely beat Sasquatch team.
Yeah, I have a similar turn storm. Like I've played almost all the top Monday teams. Like, Snow 2-0'd me. Kstigs I won one in scrims, and I like beat Snow in scrims, and like playing against all those teams, I was like, all right, these teams are like these are teams I think I can pretty easily beat. I won one Sasquatch team basically entirely because they let me last pick PL, and then they like stomped me super hard the second game. I think their team is just like, it's on paper, maybe it doesn't seem super strong because they're 1-2. Just playing against them, they're just like, it feels like they're a step above the other teams at the moment.
Rigged.
Rigged. That's also true. I think the free agent does have a lot to do with it.
Didn't they upgrade like 3 badges? I don't want to get into
it. Was like
here.
5 or 6. It was a very significant badge upgrade.
Man, you guys gotta check out those rigged teams. I keep hearing rigged teams are doing well. You guys gotta be careful with those rigged teams, Mats.
My team's not rigged, dude. We're just sandbaggers.
I wasn't the admin that gave that free agent. No names though.
I have refrained.
Oh, we have some stuff going on here, but I digress. Thank you, Matieu.
Matieu is a good admin.
Mistakes do happen though. You can give a free agent that is in this trade like the exact same level as the person drafted. It happened last season. It's gonna happen every season. It's part of the deal. People make mistakes.
They do. But we like to remind them their mistakes. It's very fun to do that. But thank you, Matt, for coming on, doing that extra long shift of being a guest on the show. Good luck in playoffs, sir. Any last words for the people?
I'll see you all in a month when I'm an RD2L champion.
Rigged.
Confidence there. But now we are joined by a different guest. We have Octane of Cosmic Status 4K fame, which is pretty appropriate actually because we're actually about to talk about their series. But how you doing today, Octane?
I'm doing alright. How are you? I just woke up from a nap, so I'm groggy.
Am I the only Monday player here?
Yes, you're the only Monday player here. We're actually we're almost at the next shift change actually because we're kicking both you two out after this series, bringing in some of the Pacific experts and a very eccentric man, we'll call him that, but I digress. We do need to jump into the 8th series of the show. We got EST Sundays 6 team, Cosmic Status 4K versus EST Mondays number 9 seed BAM Ploopy. Let's start here with BAM Ploopy. Snow, why is this team good? Why is this Ploopy team successful?
So now that Matt's gone, I can fully shit talk admins. But seriously though, Ploopy, I don't know. Are you guys familiar with the Ploopy? What happened with him and the as a captain?
No, give us the rundown.
Well, basically, he's a Han player. They convinced him to sign up for RD2L. He actually played Seal already. Anyway, he was on a new account, and obviously, having played Han, a lot of skills transfer over. So he was on like a Legend 4, Legend 5 account or something, and he signed up, and that was what it said on the draft sheet. And then he was playing on Noah's Smurf, which is like Ancient 3, and winning a lot. So he should have been Ancient 3 on the draft sheet, I think. I mean, no one can fault him. He legitimately wasn't trying to cheat or anything, but that did give him a much better pick. Actually, I wanted to pick Stevie Ruggles, and Ploopy was the pick ahead of me and sniped it with his blatant cheating. No, I'm kidding. But
He's
yeah,
a sandbagger.
he's a hyper sandbagger. A sandbagger so sandbaggy that the admins had to make a post about it, addressing it. But it's not his fault or anything.
Oh, that was this guy. I remember that post. All right.
No problem. I have no problem with Ploopy. But that is the drama that happened around him. As for the rest of their team, Dembe is a super good support, legitimate contender for best support in the league, even though he went second round. Stevie Ruggles, also known as Luke, is an amazing, very, very solid mid laner. And like I said, I actually wanted him over Torn. Maybe the right choice. I think they're both very good, though. He's shown that he's a very good mid laner. I think they had one really bad week, this team, but Luke wasn't there. Ploopy is obviously very solid. I honestly can't say much about Fallen, and I know that Cyber is one of those players who people were kind of deterred from picking him because of his Discord posts, kind of like Loves, but he's played pretty well.
Meanwhile, though, this is one of the middle of the pack sort of Monday teams. They're playing a team that up until this week was considered almost universally a top 3, top 4 caliber Sunday team in Cosmic Status 4K. Octane, what happened last week? What happens to bring you guys from top 2, top 3 to the 6th seed?
Last week or yesterday?
Let's talk about yesterday, because yesterday was a very interesting day for you guys.
Yeah. So yesterday we played Mikel's team, and Mikel's team is a lot like Shmeezzy's team. They have one guy you need to worry about, and then that's it. But Mikel he's like 5.9k party MMR, and he's one of those I don't play solo anymore guys. He's also impossible to draft around or ban against because he can literally play anything. He was kind enough to give me his Smurf account's Dota buff as well. And it's insane. It's like 80% on every carry and mid hero you could possibly imagine, so you don't really worry about it. He memed on you guys last week.
You're right.
And played Core Kunkka.
Help.
So they first picked Kunkka game 1, and I was like, I think it's gonna be a Core Kunkka. Nobody on my team was worried about it being a Core Kunkka, which was great. And I think our draft was really strong for it. And he had talked about going Arc Warden as a joke, but obviously Arc Warden's pretty strong right now. And I didn't even think about it. I mean, I thought about it, but I was like, I remember watching him play also Storm Spirit. And Storm Spirit was the only hero left in the pool that I think most of us were pretty scared of if he was getting it. I just remember him playing against Nutty Buddy's team and having like 26 Bloodstone charges at 20 minutes in the game, and I don't want that to happen in our game. So I banned Storm Spirit, and he gets to pick Arc Warden, and Arc Warden just rolled over. Like we couldn't deal with it. It was so impossible for us to catch out. They had Kunkka and Disruptor, which they played okay. Like, I mean, if you look at the game, like nobody on their team did literally anything except Arc Gordon. We just couldn't. I don't know. We couldn't coordinate around it. It was difficult.
The thing is, game number 2, you picked a roaming Warlock Orb of Venom first. You went mid Wisp, and you played carry for your team.
Yeah.
Why?
So I told my team. My team was largely not hyped around the series in general because we had already made the playoffs. And I knew we were going to lose Cosmic for game 2. So Cosmic's our Divine 1 mid first pick. And I was going to have my 6th or 5th round pick step up as a sub in there. So we're losing like over 2,000 MMR. So I was like not really worried about it. And I told the guys, like, what do you want to play? Like, you can tell me anything. I was pretty tilted after the first game. Not because of necessarily losing, but we didn't execute some things that I had planned on, so it was a little rough, but I actually banned 2 of the heroes that the guys had told me to pick because we were in ban phase instead of pick phase. Tell you where my mind was at. But yeah, I was like, tell me the hero you want to play. My last round pick wants Phoenix. Let the man play Phoenix. Noah wanted to play roaming Warlock. Let the man Warlock. They were laughing. They were giggle monsters the whole first 10 minutes because Mikel couldn't move mid while Warlock sat there and did his thing, and you couldn't even hear anything over comms because Noah and Payday were laughing so hard. So, mission
unfortunately,
accomplished.
though, despite having a lot of fun, you guys have fallen all the way to the 6th seed. I made a claim earlier on the show, actually, that Mylan and Yak are arguably the best support duo in the division, and I was reminded very quickly by Redondo that he would have something to say about that. Ask you, who is the best support duo in this division?
So I'm slightly biased, but I always put a high emphasis on getting a top tier roamer. And last season with Patience, and this season with Noah, I think those 2 are arguably like top 3 supports in the division. I think Noah is slightly better than Patience. He has a pretty large hero pool. I don't know that many good 5s in our division. You might be able to offer, you guys else might be able to offer some opinions, but I think we're pretty damn good. Yeah, Zypher's really good. Voddle's really good, but like as a pair, I don't know.
What was a 4? Zypher's a 5.
Gotcha.
Seems like a lot of the good support players are primarily 4 players to their team, even if they're natural 5 players. Because...
Put it this way, we're the only 2 supports on the same team that I see actively banned against. Like, consistently.
We're just banning out your Shaman, man. I mean, you climb up like 30 billion MMR with only Shaman. We're just gonna ban out Shaman.
I climbed with like 4 heroes, but Shaman was the primary guy. But Nutty learned real fast that Shaman isn't my only hero.
I do want to go into this actual individual matchup, though, because obviously you look at both of these teams. They have some pretty interesting sort of matchups core-wise. We have obviously we have Ploopy versus Cosmic middle matchup. How do you think this series is going to play out here?
It depends on the hero. So I haven't. Obviously, we just got these matches or the match made last night, so I haven't had a whole chance to scout everything, but I'm looking at the Dota buffs. I mean, they look solid. I'm guessing this Mode Shackles guy is Luke. Divine 2, does that sound right, Snow?
Yeah.
So I have her. I mean, Noah, we have the benefit that Noah knows like 3 guys on this team. He does say that he thinks, and I quote, Luke might be better than Lala when it comes to mechanical laning. Obviously, Lala is better overall, which is that's a statement. Like, I don't bet you haven't been around too long, but like making a claim that somebody is better than Lala at anything in Dota is pretty heavy. So I think Cosmic's gonna have his hands full, but it's one of the reasons I drafted Noah. Hopefully, Noah can cause some havoc and give us a lane win there.
I think Luke is probably the best laner in RD2L. I agree with that statement. I'm pretty sure that then the individual mid lane, it's going to go almost 9 times out of 10 against any given player. He will come out on top in RD2L.
So basically, what do you guys think is going to be the overall result of this series? Let's get a game score here. Let's start with Zam. What's your prediction on the game score?
I mean, I didn't talk much about Octane's team since Octane's here, but I think they're pretty strong. I haven't played them. I haven't streamed you either, I think. But looking at the players, and I know I want to ignore myself and just have Jack before me. It's a team that's going to probably do really well. Ploopy, well, as you said, Ploopy is sandbagging really hard. So both teams are on paper good. I think that if Octane drafts well, and he should, they're going to take it 2-1.
Snow?
Damn, yeah.
I've got to go 2-0 Ploopy here. Even though they didn't have a really great start to their season, I think they're one of the probably 4 strongest, maybe 5 strongest EST-MUN teams right now. And I mean, I could see it going 2-1 either way, honestly. But I have to go with my gut here and say 2-0 Ploopy. I think that they're just really valuable picks for the first 3 rounds is really hard to beat.
MMR-wise, they do match up extremely well, especially if nobody knows what Ploopy should be playing at. Because they have, when I looked, I expected, I don't know what the typical average is for EST Monday, but they have Dembe, who's Divine. They have the Divine 2 in Luke. Fallen is Ancient 5. Cyber is Ancient 3. And I guess this is Ploopy himself is low Ancient. But, yeah. I mean, that's, like, they don't have anybody below Ancient on their team.
What's your prediction, though, Octane? What's your prediction? You think you guys are going to win the series?
Yeah, I think we take the series 2-1 if I draft well. If I don't draft well, then, I mean, that usually gives us a good leg up in most of our games. I do consider my drafting to be pretty decent these days. So
Also try not to yell at your team.
not to what?
Yell at your team.
Not to yell at my team.
Yeah, chill back, Bangkok.
Yeah.
Alright, we're now going to be rotating our guests. We're going to be rotating out Snow and Zam. Anything to say to the people, you two?
Shout out to my in-game sponsor guest.
Good dude, that man.
See you next season.
Alright,
Next season.
GG,
Alright, thanks
you
for
two.
having me on.
Thanks for coming on,
Having
guys.
us out.
Yeah, no.
It was a pleasure. Take care.
Alright, so now we are going to be rotating in EST Sunday's very own Jakou, and we're already bringing on Redground very, very soon, the moment Redground shows up. Looks like it's very tight time-wise with him, but we can right now move into the next 4 series, because the next 4 series we're going to be covering are basically the Pacific versus the other teams. Basically, it's the 3 Pacific versus EST Sunday matchups, and the 1 Pacific versus Monday matchup. But first, I gotta ask you, Jakou, how you doing, sir?
Totally great. Lining up my night with some nice basil chicken after this. So I'm, very excited to talk some great teams, some great series in the playoffs, and then finish it off with dinner.
I do have one question for you, though. Were you disappointed that you did not make playoffs off of strength of schedule?
I think strength of season as a concept is probably a fitting one, comparatively to like doing tiebreakers just if you have the flat same win rate as somebody else or whatever record. Because we definitely, if you look at our strength of season, had compared to a lot of other teams that had our record, probably easily an easier season. So I don't begrudge it really. If you sort of pointed out to me that I could have won any of the games I lost and said that if I won that game that I could have been playoffs, that stings. But there was too many. If it was just one game, I would have been upset. But there was definitely multiple games where we went 1-1 that week, and it was like so unfortunate. So like given that, I had a lot of opportunities to make playoffs this season. So it's not like I missed it by a millimeter, I guess. So not too torn up overall.
You guys did drop a couple games to, we're going to call them bottom feeders.
Yeah. There was a particular Malachi game that I've been reminded of, but that's not even the worst one. I lost to Megas.
You guys have,
RD2L
there was another game you played where you were up Megas, your Battle Fury Knicks game.
Yeah.
Ultimately didn't work out for you guys.
Yeah, that was not great, but the season learned a lot. Grew as a human, evolved, I guess. So I feel like next season gonna come back with all this knowledge and never be a captain again.
I'm with you, bro.
Yeah, that's where I'm mode player this moment.
It's a refreshing feeling, I bet.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of freedom. I feel like there's a different dynamic to being a captain versus a player. It's one that is sort of subtle at first, but as you start to progress, you realize that there's also another layer to being kind of quote unquote like a captain and like the higher more player, I guess, within the team. It adds an extra layer of depth. You have to maybe shot call, maybe be the one thinking of all the ideas. It gets stressful. It starts to bake you.
Luckily, though, we are joined by Pacific Sunday's very own Redground. How are you doing, sir?
Oh, hi, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Badger. I'm here. Sorry I'm late.
It's alright, don't worry. I am an expert at filling time, don't worry. And we were running early, that's my bad.
It's all good. I just got off work.
But we are now jumping into our 9th series of the night. We're now in the Pacific Sunday block right here. Get your great Pacific Sunday hype right now, because we have the number 1 Pacific team featuring you of all people at captain, the Righteous Bisons, PST Sunday number 1 versus the last seed from EST Sunday, the Waifu Hunters, captained by Minah. Redground, tell me about your team.
Oh, my team's the best team there ever was, to be honest. It's like a bunch of legend players and me. Yeah, we're going to crush it, actually, to be honest. So, my team was my first time captaining. I am Divine 3. I'm a position 1 player. And I first picked my brother, who lives with me, actually, who's an offlane player and is like ancient, low ancient, so already kind of anti-value, but I picked him because he's my bro. And then after that, the pool started thinning out a lot. So, because PSD Sundays got honestly like pretty low MMR. I'm not exactly sure how the Eastern teams are, but I have a feeling we're kind of not favored so much. So I have, let's see, who are my players? I got
Who's your brother?
Dog.
What's his name?
What's that?
What's your brother's name?
MG Happy Hobo. Yep, and so he's like only played off lane. I taught him how to play Dota, and he has just been in the off lane since day one, making space for me to farm. So we got a good thing going on. And then after that, I drafted a bunch of support players basically, and threw one of them mid randomly. So I have Yo Dog, who's Legend 3. I have RD for what? Free Agent, Legend 4, probably on support. I have Hollywood, who is Guardian something. And I have SKT, who is Legend 4, I believe. And that's my team. So
Yeah, I like it. I like it. There's a drama there because we're talking about your series now, right?
sure, we can.
Yeah, they're playing Minah's team.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
I looked them up. I haven't played against any of those guys, so I don't really know, but they look kind of scary.
No.
No?
Yeah. It's an interesting.
Yeah, on paper they can. Go ahead, Jakou.
Yeah. Okay. I did play them week 1, so I don't know. Did you outplay the mock team?
We've scrimmed them like 3 weeks worth of scrims or something like that.
So
We didn't play them.
numerically speaking, they're like a pretty. It's kind of an interesting thing because they've got probably one of the better offlaners within the whole of EST Sunday.
Okay.
As like a second pick in subject, he's like Divine 3 or something. That might be a little inflated because he's a Pangolier spammer. But I mean, he actually is probably like one of the better offlaners in terms of MMR.
He is though a notorious Pangolier player. That's the one caveat you always need to have when somebody's MMR is this guy is, I believe, number 2 ranked Pangolier on Open Dota or something. This is a
God bless he's not in captain's mode. God
Yeah,
bless.
yeah,
That'd be banned right away. Anyways.
How it works.
100%.
And Velvet's actually like one of the I think I'd say people that captain that are higher MMR that could definitely like carry a team even if he didn't get the level of players he got for his in terms of his like several picks. So they've got a definitely strong duo there.
Is he playing mid?
Yeah, he plays mid.
All right, so that's a little spooky for me because my mid position is definitely my weakest. Like we've been picking a lot of Dragon Knight and just
Razors,
random shit like that, just to kind of comp. Like I honestly have a lot of faith in my players. I really do. I think they're all value, and we work together well. Like we've been working hard together. We all trust each other, but they are low MMR and. Like I put him mid, and if he doesn't get CS the first couple waves, he starts to tilt. We have to tell him to shut up, and so I don't know.
I think then that might be an interesting matchup, primarily because, in my times playing with them, it felt like maybe this team was not always on the same page.
Okay.
And maybe sometimes maybe their carry wouldn't gel with the rest of their players, and he'd kind of be off, like he'd die randomly, and they'd be grouping or smoking. So maybe, there could be a comparison there with like these guys have not necessarily the best like gelling in terms of communication. Maybe your team kind of edges it out there. And so that's why, my team when I played them, we went 1-1, but it felt like they were not as potent as maybe their numbers would suggest. So I feel like this team is definitely one that has a lot of volatility.
Yeah, and when I see that, because there's even teams at PSG Sunday that kind of fit that bill too. When I see a team that's like that, when I'm scouting them, my approach is to first of all really, really try and win the draft. Because like if we win the draft and they have better players, and then like basically the idea is to take it later. Like do the best, like win the draft, win the lanes as much we can, and then try and push the game, prolong it, because uncoordinated teams are gonna fuck up or they'll lose a team fight and then suddenly like they won't have any direction, like they won't know how to end the game. You know what I mean? Like they might even be ahead, but then like they just kind of like are feeding randomly, and then you can actually leverage that. So that's sort of going to be probably the strat. Is a little more late game oriented stuff.
Yeah.
There is a very little bit of important intelligence you need to remember, though, is they have done a bit of a role swap. They have moved subject to a 4 support role. He's been playing a lot of...
I was going to bring that up, too. Yeah, he's not playing offlane for them anymore.
Oh.
But he did hit 6K.
He's
Just to throw that out there.
Meanwhile, you have Yurbad playing the off lane. That man is a what do you call him? Notorious Centaur gamer. A very good Centaur Warrunner player.
Centaur.
If
That's
you
a
do,
hero?
If you do not
Yeah.
ban it and you lose to Centaur, I will be disappointed.
No, because that's like just one of those things. Like your bad's like 1K, right?
He's ancient now.
I think
dude. He's
he's,
ancient.
I think he's legend. He got
Whoa.
ancient from party, but I think he's somewhere in the 3K solo.
Whoa. All right, your bad legendary caster within the EST Sunday community.
I love Yurbad, dude.
I don't know. I think hero MMR wise, he's probably like a 7K Centaur Warrunner. I don't think he would begrudge me in saying that maybe some of his other heroes are slightly questionable.
You really think I should ban Centaur? Isn't that hero garbage? I don't know.
I mean, take it from somebody who knows this guy. Not to throw it on you, but definitely I think this is the thing he's the most comfortable on.
All right, we'll see. Maybe I'll debate him. Maybe I'll give it to him and have a plan. We'll see.
Well, first pick that Centaur in return.
Oh, there we go. That could work.
I've
Yeah,
got
no,
this,
Hobo doesn't
Vynil
play
Centaur.
Centaur. I play Centaur. I can play some safe lane Centaur. They'll really get stomped on that one, maybe.
Yeah, arm with Centaur, not bad at all. You get that strength. You tank those tower shots. I feel like
Yeah, you go
You
triple
know.
heart. Yeah.
I think that would be real dedication. I would be a fan for life if you practice carry Centaur and then beat them with Centaur round 1 in playoffs.
Oh,
That is a Jakou type win right there.
Yeah, I would actually, I mean, yeah, it'd be sick.
I think you guys match up pretty okay. I'm looking at the drafts that you typically run, and your brother is no slouch in the off lane if he's ancient 4. So historically, I mean, you played Sunday last season, right? We don't have.
Last season we didn't have Sunday.
Yeah, we did. Not PST Sunday. Sorry, EST Sunday.
Oh yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Yep.
So historically, EST Sunday didn't have a ton of really good offlaners. We had like Redondo and then Shay, and that was it. So if you didn't ever face up against one of them, you were probably facing up against some 3K. Well, JTK dominating though, like 6Ks. When was the last time you faced against saw a 6K offlaner that wasn't named Dr. Shay?
Hey, Jakou in the off lane, season 12 dude was legendary.
Sometimes you don't need to be 6K to be able to destroy off lane.
No, but I'm saying teams aren't used to facing it, and they're gonna have his brother plays Brew, which doesn't see a lot of play in our division.
Oh really? No. I fully expect Brewmaster to get respect banned, and if he's not, I think that's a huge mistake. I probably shouldn't be saying this, but
yeah,
I have a lot of confidence. My brother, he was a Grandmaster StarCraft 2 player.
Wow.
He's not as experienced in this game, so I kind of take more like the shot calling role. But he's very mechanically talented, and he has a few heroes that he is quite good at, and has absolutely been carrying us. So
I see Meepo's in his top 5 most played. That's
actually no, that's a lie. That's actually a lie. The Meepo is so I actually gave him my old account when he started playing, and made it made a new account a long time ago to try and get a higher solo queue, which worked, which is my current account. So that account is actually originally mine. So all of those Meepo games are me. From like I spammed it to try and get out of like 1K, 2K, and it worked. So yeah.
Wow.
So that's that. There's no
comedy.
bad shenanigans there. It's just an honest. I gave him my account like a year and a half ago when he started playing or whatever. So
One of my big concerns for you guys, though, looking at the Righteous Bisons, is what are you going to do up against Minah in the mid lane? This is a fairly solid middle lane player. What is your plan for him there?
my plan is to early pick an unbeatable mid, such as or like a hard to like a mid that's okay losing mid, basically.
Basically,
So
Viper, Razor, DP, Dragon Knights.
Right. A Puck. I'm notably my player actually spams Puck.
I respect that. I respect that.
And we're gonna look for the Puck Dark Willow combo probably too, if we're allowed to have it. And yeah, I don't know. So that's sort of the plan for the mid lane. Also, we do a lot of. I'm really okay with just completely fucking the lanes. Like I'll play Faceless Void mid on myself. We'll just move things around as needed, like to try and counter the draft. So I have no hesitation. We'll play 3 off-lane heroes as our cores and just run at them. We'll play like we do all kinds of weird shit. So that's definitely a weakness of mine in drafting. Sometimes I get a little funky and then I like regret it and we just fall apart. But
that sounds totally
we
Cool.
ran a chaos. I played Chaos Knight mid one game. So part of that is I'm just trying to give my players good matchups. You know, I sort of say we have 2 cores, or we have 3 cores and 2 sports, and we're gonna move shit around to get the best lane matchups we can. We're not worried about mid heroes or not. So
That's good. That's smart.
so that's sort of the strategy. We do our best, and I just try and keep my morale high in my team and say, if you're getting kind of shit on, well, I'm stomping this 3K over here in the side lane, so we'll do our best.
Yeah, that sounds very admirable. I feel like another maybe tack-on point for the Minah team kind of highlight is that they have a lot of ability to pick kind of these polarizing last pick heroes in some senses.
Okay, sure.
Like they're definitely not bemoaned to last pick a Timbersaw or a Necrophos, even if it's gonna be like
right.
You know, even like a wonky carry like Slark.
I hear you.
Like it's one of those things where, you know, I think I definitely dropped a game the first week to them just like because I, you know, forgot that Timbersaw was a hero, and then you know you got 3 strength heroes against Timbersaw, so definitely that might be an extra point to add on to the mind to the process is to think about these strange heroes that they might just last pick because it feels like all of their players, maybe in all their cores I should say, probably outside, so they're 1 and 2, not really their carry, are very open to picking kind of these stranger heroes that might, you know, throw people off, throw a team off. Yeah.
So
do you do a lot of scouting, Redground?
Oh yeah, I do a lot of scouting. I like scouting.
Okay. I think you'll be okay.
Yeah, and like here's my approach to that. Honestly, my drafting's come a long way in this season, and like I just captain a lot. Like I play with lower MR players a lot, and I'm just always in charge of the picks. And so my sort of approach to dealing with captains who like to do that kind of stuff is I actually prefer first pick. I don't like the second pick, and like because I think it's you're playing into the fear by taking second pick. I think first pick actually just gives you overall a much better draft because you get to counter 2 of the 3 lanes, and basically you first pick and you just have a contingency plan for everything. You just need to be ready. That's it. Like you just need to think about Timbersaw, you need to think about Broodmother, you need to think about Tinker, you need to think about Sniper, and like that's really hard to say and do, but like that's the way to approach it that I'm trying. And so I have a notebook, you know. I just try to have contingency plans, and a big part of that is your first 2 picks. Like you want a Jakiro in your first pick. You want a hero that does 4 different things for your draft, so that your later picks are flexible. So I don't need a broken hero. Like I want a Clockwork in my first pick, you know. So as long as your like first 2 picks are very open and like can cover a lot of bases, then like that really sets you up for the draft. And I think like first pick is the way to go, and then just have a contingency plan so they can fucking go for that last pick bullshit hero, but I'm gonna win the other 2 lanes. And so yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I've been definitely I can definitely agree with you on the first pick sentiment because you know obviously getting that, like forcing them to ban the heroes that you play plus whatever is broken, you know, and then if they don't ban it, you just, you know, take Darkwill or whatever first pick. Right. And on top of that, you get that after the first whatever the second set of bans, you can take that third pick or whatever, and then immediately like, you can sort of immediately take like if you see like, you know, at that point there's no counters to OD anymore in the pool. It's like there are some heroes that are just strong enough that you can just take it, and you know they have to use their next 2 picks, you know, and at that point there are 4 picks into their draft. You can pick your carry at that point, you know. Feels like first pick just has a lot of merits in this patch.
We do have to move a little bit on to the next PST Sunday matchups. Lots of good talk going on. We need to get the prediction of the final score here. Let's start with let's start with Octane. What's your prediction for the result of the series?
So I've played Minah's team like in 3 different series, so I have a good understanding. But looking at some of the drafts on your team, Righteous Bisons, I think they match up really well. I think if they win the early game, which some of their drafts tend to be geared towards, I think they'll be okay. So I think Minah is smart enough and good enough not to get 2-0'd. So I think they'll start out 1-1, but I think I'll give the edge to Redground because of his drafting prowess, from what I'm seeing.
Jakou?
Yeah, I definitely would say kind of mirroring that sentiment. I think that I just see a little more consistency from the Righteous Bison team, and Minah obviously has a lot of potential, but I think they, on average, don't hit the high highs that their team can hit as much as they sort of fall a little bit in the middle. So I'd say that Redground's probably going to go 2-1 there. I'd actually say that there's a good chance that if they have a convincing first game, that there's a really strong chance they could just 2-0 sweep it out. Maybe Minah and team would get a little bit tilted in the draft and then kind of edges it out even closer to a 2-0. So yeah, probably 2-1.
Redground?
I really convinced you guys with my sweet talk. But also, despite all that, yeah, it's a 2-0 for Redground for sure. No doubt.
I'm sticking with my division. I mean, I'm going to go against the grain here. I'm going to go with my division. I'm going to go with Minah in the middle lane. I'm going to predict a 2-1 actually for Waifu Hunters here. Perhaps I'll be wrong about that one, but oh well.
It's definitely possible. I think that this is... I'd say if I had to give a number, I'd probably go about 65%, maybe 70. It depends on the day, how everybody's feeling. But yeah.
Alright, so we're on to series number 10, and I want to nominate actually one of the teams in the series for the most stupid team name and player names of the entire NA RD2L. I'm going to start with the Sunday team first. The Sunday team is the Wisp Who Shagged Me, captained by Vynil, EST Sundays, seed number 10. But when we go to the PST Sunday team, we have their second seed. We have 420 Mohammed Fangaze 69, featuring players such as 420 Mohammed Fangaze 69 and 6 Beast Chicken McNobody. Redground, is this team actually made up of a bunch of mental midgets? Who is on this team?
This team is something else. Like super mysterious team. So basically, Bruni signs up as a captain. He's the captain, and he brings all his friends with him. Just brings a bunch of people from his friends list to PST Sunday. All of them have these very strange, mysterious accounts on Dota Buff that like are really suspicious and like weird and bad. But like, and so basically gets to just sandbag all of the people that he wanted. And so it's basically most of the team is just Bruni's friends list. As it turns out, there's probably some sort of shenanigans going on there, and some players that are a little bit higher MR than they were allegedly to be on the player draft, but it's whatever. Nothing confirmed there. I think so. 420 Mohammed Fangaze 69 himself is supposedly also the brother of Bruni. According, I've talked to Bruni. I like Bruni.
Seems to be a PST theme.
Yeah, that is a PST theme. We got a lot of friends list teams because we're kind of a dying breed at the moment. But
the Wild West.
Yeah, it is a Wild West. But yeah, though this team is very explosive, very strong. Has a ton, like very high MMR for our division.
Yeah, they look really high MMR as I'm going through this. Brumi's Ancient 3, 420 yep. Mohammed is uncalibrated, but he was 5.6k party before that.
Yeah, he's like a Divine 5 player, but he like went second round. Yeah.
And he's his brother?
No, yes, he's his brother. Yeah. Yes. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
And yeah, and then Shrieking Knight, who was I think like Legend 5 on the player draft, and is now a Divine player.
Now.
Yeah. So
questionable.
It's ugly.
It's ugly. Basically, Bruni got Shrieking Knight and 420 Fangaze 69 like he wanted, and then after that he picked just 2 random shitters. I shouldn't say that.
They aren't bad either. Legend 5 and Ancient 0.
No, they're fine. They're fine, but there's a little bit of cancer going on there. Like every time they lose, because like they started off the season just completely stomping every game 2-0, 2-0, 2-0. Every game was like over in 20 minutes. It was just like unstoppable. And then they started losing a little bit, and Bruni would always talk to me after the game and be like really tilted about his supports and be like, I don't know, like I don't know what to do. And then he's like putting himself on support, and they're like switching roles game 2. And they're definitely, if they lose game 1, like they're losing game 2 kind of team. So I don't know if they fixed that at all, but yeah, this team is very cheesy. Holy shit!
No, dude,
yeah,
this is just ugly.
Like
I was looking at this the whole time.
Oh, they're Broodmother spammers. They're like
spammers.
Yeah. What a bunch of ghouls.
Oh yeah, they are.
There's like 3 teams of Broodmother spammers in RD2L. Where have they gone, man? Where is this division gone?
They've played Broodmother 3 times this season so far.
And then it got banned every game after that, for sure.
Good.
Well, yeah. It seems strange to me that this team actually does, with just a quick once-over, seem very suspect. And yet, I think perhaps because PSC Sunday is the Wild West, like a frontier land.
Yeah. I mean, like, they 2-0'd us the first time we played them. We matched against them twice. And the first time I played them, they absolutely stomped us. I like, prepared for it. I had this whole plan, which was to pick Broodmother last pick right before them. To try and, like, debate, you know? And I had to bail because they just picked a bunch of Broodmother counters randomly. And it was just a disaster. And, like, and the game just, it was awful. And I picked Anti-Mage for myself and played against an Enigma Skywrath Mage dual lane, and I had like 2 CS in 30 minutes. It was like the ugliest shit. But the game 2, the next time I matched against them, we did 2-0 them, and I think I changed a lot of stuff at the draft. I kind of figured them out a little bit. We had a game where all 5 of my players had an Aeon disc. Yep.
Jesus.
What is Pacific Sunday, dude?
And it was the correct strategic. Like, one of my players, Lily. I don't know if you guys know Lily, but she left the team. She left playing Dota. But I have a free agent now for her. But she was the one who brought it up. It's like, we should just all get an Aeon disc. I was like, actually, yeah, because they had this Skywrath Mage with that was just blowing up everyone instantly. It was like their position 4 was the highest net worth in the game. It's the 420 Mohammed Fangate 69 dude. He just fucking owns. And so we just all got an Aeon disc, and then like, what the fuck did they do? They had only single target, like, surprise blow you up heroes, and then we just won. So.
Your team got 3 Aeon discs after minute 50. And you won in 60 minutes.
Yeah. I was playing Jug, I believe. You're
yes,
looking at
you were. Yeah.
Yeah. So Jug Aeon disc in my 6th slot, and I would not have traded it for anything, not a butterfly, nothing. It was like the only item that went like that. I think that item's broken actually. It's like very situational, and the weird thing about the item is it's only a late game item, but it's cheap. So it's a little awkward and weird, but I do think that item is very powerful.
They played Core Kunkka. Nice.
Yeah.
I definitely just played a quick pub before this where I played Drow Ranger CDR build, and I went Aeon disc.
Can you get one shot by a Kunkka that crits if you have Aeon disc?
No.
Yeah. Wait, I think you can.
No.
Really? It just puts you to 70? I think if it's one instance of damage, it will.
Is it? Down. I'm so sure that's.
Because I was trying to figure out how a Kunkka with 2 Daedalus and a Rapier doesn't crush your Aeon disc strat.
That was the thing. That kept happening to me. I had the Aeon disc and I wasn't dying to Kunkka, but he was one-shotting me all the other time. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not 100%, I guess, but.
Because it's similar to like Abaddon ult, right? Where if you like.
Bypass the threshold or whatever.
Abaddon's ult you can get one shot through, but I thought Aeon disc was different, but maybe not.
I'm not sure. It's a new mechanic, you know.
Yeah.
We do have to somewhat get back to the original tangent of the series.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, that's true.
It's all right. We got some good stuff going on here, but we have to bring it back. I need to rope you guys in eventually to our opponents. Now is EST Sundays number 10, the Wisp Who Shagged Me, captained by Vynil with the number 1 overall pick. They picked Metalflox. Sunday guys, thoughts on this?
I definitely know these guys a little bit. Maybe not more than Octane, but I actually got to play with them, like basically just like replacing their offlaner in a stack with them, and just playing with the rest of the team for like 3 or 4 games the other last week or something, and came across to me that they were very, what's the word? Pretty positive team. They were very communicative and like a friendly team. You know, some teams in RD2L, you know, they play with each other. You know, you get kind of like chummy, like, but not like super like. These guys seemed like they, you know, had jokes, and they seemed like they were friends, like pretty good friends. You know, they had like inside jokes, and they were talking, and they all seemed very comfortable with each other. So I think that like is a little extra notch that they all seem like they are all very close, and that their strategies and ideas are pretty meshed with each other. And it's like, I think Metalflox is a really good example of what you should be as a higher MMR player or like as a first pick, because he's very communicative and he's also very positive. some Divine 5 players might like boss around, like they're like they sort of like, you know, I don't want to say peons, but like the people that they see as like lesser or whatever, like and see themselves as like this like kind of god or whatever. But I think Melliflox is a good example of somebody that's he's just very straightforward, and he like tries to help out everybody like in game, you know. Not very negative. He doesn't like look down on anybody. So you could say that he was a good first overall pick for that. But I also think he's got the skills to kind of align with that. And I just think this team is really solid overall. They just mesh in a nice way, and I think that's reflected in their pretty good record. Yeah. Not much more to say. Their style is a little it's very ganky, it's very pick-offy. They're from what I played, we played 3 games. I played 3 games with them, and their mid player played Invoker every single game. It seems like a lot of their strategies are based around this guy always getting Invoker and always getting the Sunstrike pickoffs and always getting their team ahead because of that and letting Melliflox farm. Yeah, Daywalker.
You do need to keep in mind, though, there's a disparity between how a team is going to play within a pub environment and how a team is going to play within an RD2L environment.
Yeah.
And often when you have your full sort of 5-man unit, you're often going to be, you know, more focused. You might have, ideally speaking, you want to have your support shot calling and say Shmeezzy shot calling early 4 sort of stuff going on, and then obviously you have the high MR player like Melliflox, he can give you like the later sort of direction once the hero's online, but it's a little bit hard to shot call as say a carry mid from like the first 10-15 minutes. You know what I mean by that?
Yeah, so I definitely say that their labor is well managed, which is to say that it feels like Melliflox has a good control of the way, like he talks in the early game about like more abstract stuff about like the way the game should be played, and then the supports shot call and speak in more direct like what we should be doing like in the next few minutes kind of way. So there's like a good flow to it. There's like a good flow, like, okay, I'm the carry and I need this, and this to happen for me to have a good game. But the rest of you should figure out what we need to do specifically in the next 2 or 3 minutes to be able to have like a good, do we push the lane? Do we gank the mid laner? Do we smoke behind the offlaner's tower? Do we ward? The supports have a control of that, but then the carry, which is, obviously their higher more player, has a nice solid, like, overall overarching kind of vision. And then the mid and off laner kind of just like, sort of like, not to say like, just waiting for stuff to happen to their lanes in that early part, but they're, perceptive and more waiting for their phases of the game to start getting really talkative. So I think they've got a really nice flow for how they discuss and speak.
What is the overall verdict, though? What is the verdict on a prediction for the series? Let's start here with Octane. How do you think the series is going to end?
This is tough. I haven't seen a team like this, like Bruni's team, with this kind of
firepower.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of scary, to be honest. I didn't get a chance to play finals team this season, but I have played with Melliflox before. I have played with Shmeezzy, and I played Battle Cup this past weekend with Daywalker. They're all really good guys. I will say that I hope that they're being close-knit friends or very friendly with each other can make up for some of this lack of firepower. But I think Bruni's team is just really good.
Yeah, they've got cannons.
I'd have to say this is 2-0 just based on the skill gap is huge.
They're shaped out like really annoying heroes that you don't want to play.
Yeah, they play a lot of stuff that make people want to quit Dota, and they appear to be good at it.
What's your predictions here, Redground?
Based on what I've heard, I'm gonna go with Bruni. I think that I feel like Bruni is solvable, but I feel like it takes time and experience against his team more than just the scouting report. And I think it's just like that first time you play against them, it takes you off guard. They're really, really good at shutting down a high MR core as well. So like they know how to bully a lane and draft bullshit.
Yeah, that could be problematic for.
Looks like they just pick Skywrath and send him to whatever lane the higher more player is.
Right. And so I think. I mean, I'm sure Melliflox is great, but like, it's just if he's getting bullied, like I don't,
Yeah,
hard.
how much could he really do?
So if Vynil, because the real thing is you just have to go late game against this team. You have to survive the laning phase and the early game and keep your towers as much as possible. So if Vynil team can predict that and know how to draft that and can do it, they can win. But I'm gonna go with Bruni. I think it's gonna be too hard.
Yeah.
So.
All right, Jakou.
I wanna be contrarian, primarily because it's not to say that because I like these guys, but also, yeah, why not? I have no stakes in these games anymore. I'm fucking out. I'm not in any playoff games. I'm gonna say Vynil 2-1.
There you go.
Here's the end of the day.
Sunday pride.
Here's the end of the day report for me. I feel like, while it might seem like these heroes are very annoying and stuff you wouldn't want to play against and would make you want to spoon your eyes out, at the end of the day, the heroes seem like they fall off, and these Lycans, these Skywraths, these Broods, they have an expiration date really. And I think that kind of gels with the way that Vynil's team likes to play naturally, that maybe, if they pick Invoker and they survive by an act of God perhaps, they get to play past 30 minutes. Maybe they just win because they have the natural tools. Melliflux, a good late game player in Melliflux and an Invoker that is able to scale and dish out the punishment there. I feel if they maybe get to this point, and repetitively just survive. I'd imagine if they figure that strategy out, if they find the gameplay loop out within the first game, and maybe even they don't win that game, they could potentially go back and reverse sweep, get the 2-1. So I'm gonna say, yeah, Vynil 2-1, probably a 60% for me of that chance of that happening. But that's higher than 50. That's my heart.
I mean, going into this show, I would have predicted Vynil's team to win, but from what I've heard here, from what the analysts have told me, I'm gonna go with Bruni 2-1. But I think it's gonna be a close series regardless. I think it'll be a very interesting series to watch.
This is one to watch, I'd say.
Definitely.
I'm excited.
Yep, I'll be watching.
So actually, I'm going to introduce into this third PST Sunday series real fast. This one being PST Sunday's 3 seed. We showed up, captained by Inquisator, versus EST Sundays, seed number 5, a team I'm definitely not familiar with in the slightest bit at all. Enigma stole our bikes. But I do need to go to the bathroom real fast, been here for 2.5 hours. We're going to introduce you guys, talk about this PST Sunday team. We showed up. What's your read here, Redground?
All right, I'll take it. This team is, I thought was 4th seed, but okay. They are good on paper, but bad in practice. They just barely squeaked by into the playoff bracket. I just watched their last match. Actually, their last match was very dominant. They won 2-0 really hard, but they were definitely tied going into it. They needed to win this match to make it to playoffs. They were on the bubble. And they have the top player in their division, Doka. So they have that going for them, and just generally a little bit higher MMR than the other teams, but they have the lowest MMR captain, so they have had issues with their drafts. They've had issues with coordination, and just game plan in general. Big issues. So, yeah, basically they basically have a lot of all of their cores are kind of late game oriented and kind of solo players, and their supports are not very really clearly support players, aggressive enough, and so that you just get this sort of passive gameplay, which is not really how you play Dota. You need some of the players on your team to take initiative and make shit happen and punish. Because if you can't punish, then you just need to be able to punish. You need aggression somewhere in your team.
I was gonna say that I'm surprised that I hear that. Just looking at their draft, they draft a lot of do shit heroes.
Like what?
Sand King, Invoker, Brewmaster, Lion.
You think of Invoker as a do shit hero?
It can, like you said, it can punish. It can turn. Basically, when I say do shit, I mean it can either gank or it can turn a fight, just with a spell or two.
Right.
And it seems
but I think of Invoker as a hero that really just wants to farm. It's doing shit, but it really the bottom line is you want to go late game with Invoker and you want to farm.
I agree.
So that's sort of what I'm kind of getting at. It's not that they're completely passive. I'm kind of exaggerating a little bit, but compared to like the other teams in our division, it was a very aggressive division, I would say.
Their
yeah.
games are really quick. They don't have a fifth. They don't have their longest game is 47 minutes, and the next one they only have like 3 games that went beyond 40 minutes.
I'm surprised by that. Yeah.
Their last series went 21 minutes and 38
their last
minutes.
series was just a stomp though. Their last series was actually such a stomp, but yeah, I mean, and they do have Doka. Like part of the problem at the beginning of the season I was seeing was just like Doka was by far their highest RR player and was not really getting drafted around. And
you guys crushed them.
Yeah, we stomped them. And I don't know. I was sort of just seeing like them sort of fall apart for no reason, and it just seemed like they were losing the drafts all the time, and like I didn't really know what they were doing. I looked at their draft, and be like, what are you doing? Like it just doesn't. There's nothing to be afraid of. Like
Yeah, there's like a strange sort of there's kind of like a schizophrenia in some of these drafts. You know, like picking like 4 early game heroes plus Invoker. You know, it's strange.
Right.
To me.
Yeah, and they pretty much pick like for their safe lane player who's kind of low on Mars, their captain Inquisitor, pretty much just plays like Jug. You know, maybe Life Stealer. A lot of game. He plays a lot of Jug and like gets a Battle Fury, and you know that's just fine. I love Jug, but you know what I mean. It's like so, and their offlane player gets minus a lot, and I'm pissed about it. I told them. Took is really good though. Their offlane player is actually really strong. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I
the
don't have high hopes for this team, but they do have the MMR factor, and they do have Doka, who I think like in and of his own right is a good player. But like when he's playing in tournaments with similarly MMR players, he's playing support. So he's definitely like he studies mid, he knows mid. You know what I mean? Like he knows matchups, so on. But it's not like I don't think of him as like a dedicated mid player. Like he fucking owns on certain heroes, you know. So
but the question is, can he deal with a mid laner like Riles? Is there a chance for him to even be able
The
to deal
question
with
is
that lane?
Riles actually going to play mid?
huh?
Is
I don't
there
think-
anyone that can deal with Riles?
I don't think he can beat Riles. I played with Riles a little bit. I was on his tiny mini team a little bit. I forget. But yeah, he's fucking good.
Yeah, it
Holy
was
shit, like-
Tiny number 1, I believe, and then his internet went down during.
Yeah, he's good. I respect him a lot. I don't know him super well, but I think Riles is great.
He's a very interesting Dota player. Let's put it that way. Having played him this season, he's definitely one of the more unique players in the RD2L division. I think people can argue, and there'd be a logic behind it, for him being the single best player in all of the RD2L. This guy is extremely good laning player, but he's definitely one of the more we're to call him, how to describe it?
He's a character. He's a character.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
Yeah.
Like he's not
I
somebody
like
that everyone can play with. Like if you just stick a random player of RD2L players with Riles, either they're going to tilt him out of the team or he's going to tilt them out of the team. Like you need the right bit of players around him. Like, it's simply the way it goes. Because
I can respect him.
that's how
He
it
took
goes.
a lot of initiative when I was playing with him. He was making lots of shot calls. He was being a little bit flamey, but I'm okay with that. Like I like that kind of like if someone's gonna take the initiative and leadership and be good, like fucking go for it, man. I'm not gonna get triggered by something little you said to me.
Yeah.
So I respect him. I think he's good.
So I think that's like a through line there that maybe needs to be explored a little more. Like I think obviously that's like an example that you can think of, but I guess because Badger's here, it's a little more direct that you can ask. Like Badger, do you think there's a chance that your team might be at risk of being negatively affected by that atmosphere within this series?
I don't think during this series it's gonna be a concern, but if you look at the last 3 series we played, we have a collective 1 win despite starting season 9-1, so clearly there's some kind of internal issues with our 5-man unit right now, and I think we may have solved them, but I don't know anymore, dude.
Huh.
Okay. So yeah, I think that might be, if there were perhaps 4 Redgrounds on a team with Riles, that might be unbeatable. But there's like it's a 5-hero game, right? 5 people. It kind of depends on the makeup of the group, really. And RD2L sometimes doesn't afford you enough of a chance to be able to have that like perfect group of people that mesh in that way. So I'm kind of curious to see how that would translate.
I think playoffs though. I think obviously there's no money on the line, but I think people do take playoffs a little more seriously because it's playoffs. It's fun, and so that can actually create an environment where I'm a low MR player and Riles is correcting something, and I'm okay with that. I'll take it because I want to win this, you know?
Thing is, the way I describe my internal team unit is everyone's fine with Riles saying stuff. It's just he tells them to do stuff, and sometimes they're unable to actually follow what he's saying.
I listened to the clip
you
your guys' game this last week, the game 1. I watched like the 20 minutes or whatever that he put on, so you could hear all of the Discord because he was streaming while you guys were playing.
Oh god!
And it was very interesting. So, Redground, I know one of their players on Riles' team personally, like in real life. So I get some side info, but it was interesting. I've played with Riles a couple times in some pubs, but your 3 position and your 4 position are the most vocal people on your team. I think you said like all of 10 words, Badger. I think Coop shyly defended himself at one point, but I was very shocked at who does the communication. I think your game, I've been looking at this matchup. Your game is 100% going to be on how you guys handle things, because it looked like you guys were winning that game very handedly and you could take any fight, but your coordination was just literally non-existent. And nobody could figure out why, and everybody had a different idea on what to do about it. And I think if you can get everybody on the same page, your team will be the early season team that we all saw. But if you can't get everybody on the same page, 1 in 5.
Oh
Despite
god!
everything, if you lose to Inquisitor, I will be shocked. So
Yeah, I think that would be like, if you don't beat Inquisitor, you didn't deserve to beat Inquisitor. Like in first place,
something. Yeah.
something like that.
You should win.
I
No
hope we
pressure.
do. I mean, okay. I was extremely arrogant 3 weeks ago. I'm no longer arrogant because we've lost a lot of Dota games. I think we have the players, we have the tools, we have the strategies to beat these guys. We're gonna have playoff mode Riles. I have confidence in my team. I want to hear what do you guys feel as though the result of the series is gonna be here, Jakou?
I'm definitely gonna say it's probably a solid 2-0, regardless of like all the things here. I think, whatever issues or like problems might arise, I feel like they're gonna probably be squashed by the enemy team having potentially more, more of those, including like maybe not like they might be worst players with all that stuff like removed, and so that means that if you're just like in a better mind state, you're probably gonna be winning on both ends, right? So I'd say it's probably a good 2-0 for the Riles rocking crew. Probably like a 75%, 80% chance, and if it's not that, it's probably a 2-1. Then not really crazy. I think this is probably the most skewed matchup within the 4 that we've looked at.
Octane?
I'm more of a stats guy, so I think this is going to be the Doka versus Riles show, and whoever can corral their baboons, as you like to call, on your team, the best wins. I literally think this is a split 50-50. Like, on paper, they match up very well in terms of MMR. Both teams seem to have some internal issues, I would say. So, I don't know. I think this is literally a toss-up. If Riles has his little Mamba mode and can literally put you guys all in his backpack and do his thing, then I can definitely see him winning. I don't know Doka, so if he has the potential 1v9 carry mode in him, then maybe it can go his way. But I'll say 2-1 Riles.
Redground?
Who's a drafter for your team?
It was Riles. I just drafted the last game. I don't know anymore. I think it's Riles, though.
God, you guys are a fucking mess, dude. Get your shit
Yes,
together.
we are a mess.
It's kind of awful.
Alright, I don't know. Do your research. Like, if you target the right players, this is a 2-0, like 90%. I don't think Inquisitor's gonna win. I love those guys. Good friends with all of them, but they're gonna get fucking crushed.
I'm gonna be contrarian here. Say we're gonna. No, I'm just kidding. We're gonna win. I'm gonna say we're gonna win 2-0. I'm hoping we have a pretty clean win, get some momentum going. We need to get some momentum going at least. That's one way to put it. But I still say 2-0. regardless, Octane, thank you for coming on, sir. Thank you for
Thanks
your
for having me,
insights. We now will be shifting on from the PST Sunday versus EST Sunday to the only PST Sunday versus EST Monday matchup. And
Whoa.
in covering that PST Sunday versus EST Monday matchup, we actually have the EST Monday captain himself. From the number 1 EST Monday team, we've got Kstigs. How you doing, Kstigs?
All right.
So now we are on to the last of our Pacific Gamer series here. We are on the 4th of our seeds, actually, Feels Meepo Man. Redground, tell me about this team here, this Feels Meepo Man, captained by Strider.
Okay, I put them as so I do the power rankings every week, right, for PST Sunday. And in my first initial preseason scouting after adjusting the player draft, I put them as number 8 out of 8. And that was largely because Strider, how many games of low priority Strider has played, the MMRs of his players, etc. And then through some weird shenanigans that I'm still unclear about, he managed to lose a player and replace him with free agent Garda, who is now Divine 4. Garda is a sick offlane player, really, really strong. I think that Strider is absolutely reformed mentally. He is a good human being. Now he's doing charity every day, actually. So the team is in a good spot now. They were top of our division for a while. Very strong team. I don't know why they're 4th seed. They must have got stomped in the last series. I still have to watch that and write my power rankings. But yeah, I think Garda's super good. Strider's super good. Polo's, his other core player, is very good. His supports are very aggressive and coordinated. It's really hard to draft against this team, actually, because they play a very kind of dedicated tri-core because their highest MMR is offlane. So you don't really know like who's the farm priority, like what lanes they're going to in the drafts. Like Strider loves to win drafts, so he'll draft curveball shit. He'll draft Drow. He'll draft Broodmother. He's not always cheesy, but he can get cheeky. So it's really hard to counter them. So you just kind of have to be better than them, which isn't super hard for an EST Monday team probably, but I think they're a good team. I like them.
I think I like this team conceptually. In terms of picking and just like looking over, obviously you don't really get the full picture from just looking at the Dota buffs, but from probably better than the team we just looked at with the Inquisitors team in terms of I don't know. I like the way that these drafts seem to be shaking up. As you said, don't know how they shake up against an EST Monday team, but it's definitely interesting to me to see how that would go.
Is Strider coming?
No.
Sorry.
No,
he's dead.
Wait, what?
Oh.
Yeah,
Strider's
we've
dead?
assassinated Strider in anticipation for this matchup.
I see.
He's gone.
Strider messaged me last night, said he was, I don't know, salty about, I guess, losing. I don't know.
Huh?
When we were doing the scheduling, he took most of the day to get back to me, I guess, and he said one of the reasons was that he was salty about losing, I guess, last night's match.
Oh yeah, I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like they're having some internal issues. I don't know.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'm curious how that would change the makeup, because it's harder to draft when there's internal issues. It's definitely harder to have that over your enemy when you're kind of throws a wrench into what could have been your strength going into the season at the beginning. When spirits are high and you can outplay other teams in that way.
Yeah, if you don't trust your teammates, it's especially important in any Dota team, but RD2L is a bit different because maybe you only play with these guys for a couple months or something. So if you're sowing these seeds of distrust, it can be really bad, especially if that happens right as playoffs come around. Now you can sort of fix it if it happens during the regular season, but not, and now it's single limb.
Mm-hmm. It definitely does seem like the Kstigs team has more of the veteran kind of RD2L players there, to kind of, or at least people that have definitely played quite a bit and are kind of continuous to the community. to where that wouldn't necessarily phase them. Because I think if you compare the two teams draft-wise, you can really see a continuous loop in the way that Kstigs team, especially, I mean, it definitely works for them as the EST Monday 1 seed. Yeah, right, that's EST Monday 1 seed. They were able to, pick these kind of heroes and just play the style. Feels like it's really up to Feels Meepo man to kind of try to come to them and like change things. It's up to Feels Meepo man to try to make the status quo different. I don't really know if this team has the tools to be able to, I don't know, dismantle the crypto crew.
I do want to ask K-Stig specifically, though, is what are your thoughts on your team? Because obviously you guys are the #1 team in what is considered the best of the North American RD2L divisions. You have arguably the best tri-core in all of RD2L with Gofu, Snacktrix, and yourself in the offlane. What is your perception of your own team?
I mean, I think we're pretty strong, but I mean, I think the bracket we've been put in is, not like, normally you'd think the first place team would be put in an easy, round 1, but I don't think this team that we're playing against is like a pushover. I have respect for Garda as a player. I think he's, I've played with him before. I think he's usually an offlane player, but I think, and Strider seems like, he's pretty high MMR, so and I don't know, this Polo guy's been missing the last 2 weeks, so I think this should be a good match. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty confident going into this. My team's actually scrimming in like 40 minutes or something, so we're gonna be trying some stuff out, and yeah, I'm not too worried about this matchup.
Are you gonna ban Sniper?
Probably not first phase. Yeah, they do pick Sniper a lot. Is that Garda playing it? I haven't looked.
No, that's Polo. Okay. Garda is playing offlane. He plays mid, but it's really just they picked an offlane hero for him, and then they wanted to like role swap because of some weird shenanigans in the draft, so they sent him mid.
Yeah. Did he play Tinker one year? I think I saw that.
What? I don't think so.
Somebody played. Yeah, he played Tinker last night.
Oh, he did? Oh, I haven't watched last night's games yet.
They. I mean, it was an hour-long game. Looks like it was pretty close. I don't know. Looks like it could have went either way, and it just this Legion commander kind of went off the suspicious account. 500 damage on Legion. Anyway, yeah. So I mean, no, I was looking at their drafts a little bit. There's some interesting stuff. A lot of Naga, a lot of Enigma.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, Witch Doctor. Everyone picks Witch Doctor. Yeah, they picked some OD, some Gyro, one Brood game. I mean, nothing too crazy. A Timber saw one game, but actually Timber. A couple teams. Yeah, a couple of games Timber.
Yep, they like the Timber on Garda. If it's a good game for it, he'll own. I mean, he's a good player. So
yeah, I mean, I think we're. I mean, if we usually pick. I think I favor picking, lane or like supports that Timber won't really thrive against, but because we we try and give our cores good lanes, and worst case like sack me. But yeah, no, it should be a good match.
Yeah, I'm interested to see where they think the drafting like pressure point would be. I'm curious if they go after, I don't know, the Kstigs hero pool, as a lot of teams have decided to try, and apparently not too much success.
Yeah,
I try to weaken the support pool.
Definitely. I think also, I don't know, this team seems like, they're a lot more maybe fluid in their drafts, and I would say generally my drafting style is a lot more rigid, especially, I think it's just when you try and get like too tricky in RD2L, I think it kind of bites you in the ass. I think like if you have a team that like, I don't know, like a higher MMR team where everyone's similar skill level, you can kind of get a little fancier. Whereas like in RD2L, a lot of times it's better to just kind of like stick to what works.
Yeah,
and so that's generally my like philosophy. But
that is not Strider's philosophy. He will do a lot of scouting. And he will try to win the draft. He will absolutely, and the other thing about him, he won't pick the same heroes game 2. Like I feel like I've never seen him do that. Like he'll win game 1 with these heroes, and then he just won't even like consider them game 2. They like don't even bother banning them because they just know he's not gonna pick them. So he gets creative. He thinks he's a good drafter, and I think he is. I think he's smart. Respect him.
I think that's interesting. I think that's definitely interesting.
So I don't know if that's good for RD2L though. It's a good point you make, especially with the low MR players. Like consistency is so good. Like you can be creative in the game with a consistent draft. You don't need to get super spicy.
Yeah, and like a lot of times, like the player can play the hero, like, but like maybe, the team doesn't know how to play around the hero. Like that specific player knows how to play around the hero, like play the hero, but like the team isn't used to playing around the hero. Like it has a different play style. Like a Timbersaw, for example, like completely changes. Like you're generally not just gonna sack a Timbersaw. You're gonna give him some help, or at least make sure his lane is not, like he's not gonna be level 1 at 3.5 minutes. Like
Right.
So
it's all about the team. It's hard. It's hard to draft. It's complicated. I don't know.
And this patch especially is just, drafting is very important. This patch.
Totally.
I do need to get the overall result, though. I mean, we're talking pretty big game for both these teams, actually. Obviously, a little more for the team on the left here. But, Jakou, what are your thoughts on the results of the series?
I definitely think that it's probably going to be Kstigs Crypto Crew coming out on top at the end of the day. I just feel like they don't have, or the Feels Mutual Man doesn't have necessarily the right skill set to dismantle all of the very powerfully ingrained ideas that are currently, pulling them through the EST Monday war machine. I think it's just not enough gas there. I think there's a chance they could take a game in some potential outdrafts, but I feel like even if they do that, there's a very strong possibility that they might even outdraft in 2 games, but there's a strong chance I think that they just like outskill them or outplay them in some way. Really strong tricore to where I'd say that's probably like an 85% chance Kstigs goes 2-0 and then gets the 2-0, and then the 15% chance is like 2-1 or maybe like closer to 10. I don't know. There's not a. I think it's very well favored to the EST Monday 1 seed.
All right, Kstigs, how do you think your team is going to do in this first round of the playoffs?
I mean, I think we secure a 2-0 here. I don't really see us losing. Maybe we drop 1 game, but I definitely do not see us losing this series.
All right, Redground, do you think your Pacific boys have any chance up against this EST Monday juggernauts?
No, absolutely not. I think that Strider, any of Strider's outdraft potential is not going to work on Kstigs squad. I think that some of his outdrafts that he's had in the past were due to abusing inexperienced captains or people that didn't know what they were doing at all. I think that any sort of stable drafter is fine, and just they're just gonna get 2-0'd. It's gonna be easy.
All right, but we are now at our what is this now? This is the 3rd larger rotation of players here. We're gonna send off one of these players first. We're gonna send off Jakou first. Jakou, thank you for coming on. Thank you for being on the show. Anything to say to the people?
Definitely want to thank you for the opportunity to come on and talk. I think it was a lot of fun. Got to learn a little bit more about these PST Sunday players and stuff. And definitely want to also give a shout out to my man Polo, new admin, slowly creeping his way up the ladder, silently gonna take over RD2L, and then crown me as the grand leader. And so I'm kind of just sitting waiting for that to happen. Really not even a Dota player at this moment, just waiting to line up and become warlord of a internet community. So that should be fun. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Jakou. But before we send off Redground, we do have one person here who has some words for Redground. Poo NaNi.
Yeah, I got some.
Any words?
I got some to say to you, Redground.
What's up, brother?
I think what you've done with your team is really great, man. And I think Happy Hobo is probably the most valued fucking pick in the entire RD2L division. Play with that guy, he's a fucking G.
That's
so
what I'm saying.
Good luck to your playoffs.
That's my brother.
Good luck to your playoff
brother,
man. I think you're gonna do great.
Thanks, man. I love you, dude.
And I also think you guys are gonna lose because your team lost to Poonani mid-qual, so you guys are fucked.
We let you win. We let you win. You know it, dude.
You're just boosting your ego.
Alright, that's fair enough.
Yeah, Redground, do you have anything to say to the people before I send you off?
To the people, no, fuck the people. But thank you, Badger.
problem.
Nice meeting you guys. To talk to you guys. You guys are fun. So, yeah. I'm gonna fucking shock the world. PST Sunday playoffs winners. We'll see it. Ugh, something like that.
Thanks for coming on, man. Have a nice night.
Yeah. Peace out. See ya.
Well, we are now transitioning from, there's really 4 distinct periods, and we're not the 4th distinct period. And I've already dubbed this, the Late Night Squad Hour, aka the Goon Squad. It's going to be a very, very interesting, last hour of the show. I am 100% certain. But I'm now joined by, dynamic duo themselves, Riles, EST Sunday Captain, and we're rejoined actually by Devilesk. How you two doing?
So, doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great. My throat is absolutely fine right now. We're doing great over here.
Alright, nice.
But
I
we
hope
are
you're
going.
still not tilted from last night, sorry.
I wasn't tilted from last night. You were tilted from last night.
Oh man, I had spirit.
That's the spirit, man. Totally. But we do now need to move back into EST Monday versus EST Sunday. We've got the number 4 team from the EST Monday division, Plex and Battle Fury, captained by Lala Time himself, one of the best players in the RD2L, up against one of the big underdog stories of the season, EST Sunday, number 11, 4 players in a feeder, captained by first-time RD2L captain Autoattacks. This is a very good series for us to cover because we have a lot of people who are very familiar with some of these players on these teams.
Yeah, Riles knows a bunch of these people.
I know everyone on Autoattacks team. I'm very familiar with Autoattacks team. And I'm also fairly familiar with with some players on the Lala team. I think Glorious hates me probably more than RD2L. I think I flamed him in some pub when Mr. Clean invited him. And then I have a very interesting relationship with Mr. Clean. I like Mr. Clean. And
You do?
yeah, dude. Mr. Clean's a great guy.
And the last time I saw you two together, I think he tried to abandon the game.
I didn't try to abandon the game.
The game was like Riles I think had given up, and then Mr. Clean just disconnected.
I don't remember.
And then he reconnected when he thought he was
so,
gonna get an abandon.
Well, the most infamous game of Mr. Clean was his fucking Nyx Assassin in an in-house game. That's probably
This was a clockwork game.
Oh, it was a clockwork. Oh, wait, was that?
He missed his.
Oh, I remember that game.
Inspiration.
Oh, it was a Riles Rage game, yeah. Because Kstigs just picks Doom every game I'm against him.
Yeah.
And Dooms me. But, yeah, no, that game, I was yelling at Clean to hook this guy. He's like, should I hook? I don't know. Should I hook? And then I was like, yeah, hook. And he just didn't hook.
Yeah, no, he definitely missed a few key hooks that game where you committed and then there was no hook.
Yeah, no. That was,
Knowing Riles, hook was probably on cooldown, man.
No, dude, the hook was not off cooldown, man. I was yelling, I was screaming at him, dude. He's like, I can't make a decision, I don't know. And then his Nyx game, I don't know, he played Nyx, and he missed about, 6 stuns in a row, I think. And then he just didn't use Spike Carapace on the Sand King that was just sitting there. But, Mr. Clean's been a part of my 254 kill games in pubs. So he's been around.
I do want to dive a little bit deeper into the Monday team, though, with Mr. Clean. Obviously, Plex and Battle Fury has a very strong individual captain in Lala. He was the highest rated individual captain in the Monday division. If you ask many people in the RD2L, many people consider him to be the best single player in RD2L. What are your guys' thoughts on this team here?
I mean, this team, I think the Lala team is, like most Lala teams, it's going to pretty much hinge on whether Lala can carry the game. And if he, goes off and he does his Lala thing, and I mean, there's not, it's pretty tough for a lot of teams to just deal with that. I think this season my team's a bit better, but I remember the previous season, they were just, I think Lala played Pugna one game. We just couldn't catch him. And I mean, he just kept shoving in the lanes, finding these pickoffs. I don't know. can be a scary player to go against.
Yeah, Lala can pretty much play anything, so I don't think you should ban any, like, he doesn't really have any signature heroes in my mind, because he pretty much plays everything, so they should just focus on banning what heroes they don't want to play against, and what heroes the other players are really good at. So, I mean, just first phase ban Clockwork and Clean. I don't know what the hell Clean's gonna do. I've never seen him play anything else other than that.
He plays Darkseer, but
yeah. Let him play Darkseer, man. Go, let him play it. And I heard bad things about Glorious from Devilesk's Division 3 tiny team. Well, that guy, I don't like him very much either. But yeah, Lala's super good. He plays everything, but I think he's sort of like a negative captain like me. When things go badly. That's what Mr.
Sorry, I think
Yeah.
Lala also he falls into this trap of he's good at drafting, but he drafts maybe not for RD2L sometimes, where he's thinking of if my players all execute as well as I would on these heroes, and he drafts in that way. I think he's gotten a bit better about it, but it does seem like sometimes he's like very rigidly like I'm just gonna pick like Sand King, like that hero is really good, and whether or not like my teammates can actually pick it, he just thinks it's good and then he just picks it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I played with him a little bit. He doesn't really do that. He's just like Sand King's pretty brain dead. You just use your stun. Like it's very easy.
Also, Lala's not that
Something like
vocal. It doesn't like. I don't think it's super good to be pretty quiet as the captain, especially as the best player on the team by far. You gotta be vocal.
Dude, look at his Dota buff here for his team. It's like Sand King, Disruptor, Juggernaut, Jakiro. Those are all like brain dead fucking heroes. Like super easy to play.
That is true.
Just like
Disruptor actually you actually have to
Yeah,
have your brain on.
Disruptor actually is. I think that hero's harder than most people think.
It's not that it's like hard to play or easy to play, but it makes your game very straightforward. Like do this on that enemy hero, glimpse it. Like,
I mean, Sand King's pretty high skill cap hero too.
I mean, I personally think so too. I think it's very easy to have like very low impact on Sand King, but again, Lala disagrees. I think.
Well, Devilesk played under Mr. Clean actually in a season 11 team. Devilesk, what is that like playing on with Mr. Clean?
I don't know. Clean was a good captain. He had his shit together.
Yeah.
Just played Clockwork, I mean, our team sucked because he had Megumin, and that was about it.
Yeah, but
Fine. He's a fine captain.
do you think he shot calls on this team, or is he a bit quieter?
I have no idea. Probably asks Lala what to do.
Do you think Clean's teams usually have internal issues, Devilesk?
I don't
Like
think
other-
so.
I don't
Teams
think so.
I think Clean's
He keeps it
toxic,
together. Doesn't tilt.
yeah.
It's nice.
Yo, man, Mr. Clean's sort of a weirdo, man. I hear some weird Snapchats he sent to A2K, so I'm not gonna talk about it, but that guy's fucking weird.
I think this team does have you brought up like Lala's kind of quiet, and I don't see like a clear captain just looking at these players. Like I would assume Lala does a bit more shot calling than he usually does in pubs, the few pubs and in-house I play with him, but yeah, Doobs does not strike me as like a vocal player. Glorious, like he'll be vocal about like what he's doing, but I don't recall him like being a shot caller, and Mr. Clean not really either. So
I played on Echo League with Dan, and he does talk a lot. It's actually he has some very good ideas sometimes.
yeah, so maybe he's shot calling then.
And I've heard Doobs has very good communication as well. That's what I've heard from other people. I think Diceport said he has good comms. That's what she describes.
My expertise relies on the Autoattacks team.
Let's go into that Autoattacks team then, because this is, if people don't follow Sunday, this is one of the biggest underdog stories of the division. The original captain was Hydro SK. He just left the team. Autoattacks first time RD2L player had to step up there and fill that role. And then 3 weeks later, they lose up against our team actually, despite not having Riles, who was their best player, making their middle laner, Dr. Zoidberg, rage quit the team. So they're down 2 players now.
Well, I mean, I had some part in getting Dr. Zoidberg quitting his own team.
Yeah, you tilted him a little bit hard. Let's not go into details of that one. But regardless, this is now they picked up another free agent in Filski. They picked up a free agent as well in Sparky. And Autoattacks had to shift roles. He's originally an offlane player, one of the best offlaners in the RD2L for that matter. But now he's playing mid lane, and this team is still capable of making playoffs. Riles, what is your take on this Autoattacks team?
Alright, I'm pretty surprised actually 2-0 there last week, but I don't know, Redondo's team's probably not very good or something. Because I mean we scrim versus Auto's team. They're not the best. But you know, I love their names. When Autoattacks was drafted, dude, I was laughing at Sticky Stanley, Nutter, Dr. Zoidberg, and then so. But yeah, they've had a lot of changes, man. Auto's had to go to mid, which is probably for sure I think his worst position. So he's pretty much limited to a lot of like DP heroes, Razor heroes, and I wouldn't recommend him trying to keep going like SF or something. He should stick to a DP Razor pretty much, I think. Some TI4 meta heroes. And then Sticky Stanley is a total goon. That guy's crazy. He plays a lot of Clockwork. He plays Tusk. He just wants to kill people. He's pretty funny to play with. Sparky is their stand-in, or not stand-in. He's their free agent player that they got after Hydra SK left the team. And then he's had like internet problems one game. He had to leave the country for a week. So Auto's been playing with a lot of different people. Filski is their newest addition. After Zoidberg left, and I think originally he tried out for the team as a free agent, and then Auto told him no, and then Matieu told him, oh yeah, that's the only stand-in or free agent we have for you. So then he had to tell him, oh, we actually need you. And then Filski's probably, I think, their weakest link is a core for sure. I don't know if he's maybe like their worst player, but he's their weakest link, I think. And I got Auto to give him some coaching lessons on the off lane because, like, when I watch their games, man, he just never seems to have a good lane or a good game. So hopefully the Autoattacks coaching is gonna play off. Hopefully he coaches him one more time before the series starts. And yeah, Nutter, he's just a classic RD2L5 player, man, with a great name. So yeah, that's my take on the team. It's my summary of the team. I love Sticky Stanley though.
Thing is, does this team have any sort of chance up against Plex and Battle Fury? That's a big question though.
I actually think they do. I think Auto usually can get a wash mid in most matchups. Like he's actually pretty good. He's a good player. Like mechanically, he just doesn't have he doesn't have enough experience to play these mid matchups well enough. So if he can just play a pretty easy to execute hero, and Lala doesn't play, if Lala doesn't snowball too hard on the SF, I think like Auto can make really good game decisions, and keep his team intact in order to take at least a game off of them. So yeah, I definitely think Autoattacks does have a chance. They're definitely the supreme underdogs, but I think they could do it.
Does any of our Monday analysts, though, say this is not going to be a very close series? Any of you guys think that Lala's team has a chance to crush these guys
Lala's going to
completely?
stomp them, dude. That's what I think.
It's not even going to be close.
Yep. I like Autoattacks too. I think he's a good player. He's got good game sense. But like Riles said, he's not a mid player. He's going to get fucking rolled.
I don't think he'll get rolled, dude. He can do okay
Not
in like
him,
these
but
matchups.
the whole team as a general. Like Lala doesn't need to just sit mid and trade farm. He'll just go kill someone else.
I believe in
Dude's
Auto
pretty
to
good
lead the
at carrying,
team.
So he should get free farm top lane.
Also, Auto's probably the most PMA, one of the most PMA players in Dota. He's pretty hard to tilt, and he's the most Canadian motherfucker too, dude. He's like this nice Canadian guy that just lives in an igloo. So.
I think he's gonna be straight out skill, dude. I think they have an MMR advantage on Monday, and they seem to play decently well as a team. I screwed them a bunch.
I mean, yeah, I think Lala's gonna win, but I think Auto's got a better chance than most people think.
Autoattacks. Autoattacks, 2-time tiny winner. Lala's only a 1-time tiny winner, so he doesn't have that going for him.
Exactly.
No, but no, you can't forget all Lala's other wins, dude.
Oh,
RIL winner.
RIL season 1 winner.
Yeah. Was there a
Okay,
season
everyone
2?
stop playing that, dude. Like, I feel like that win doesn't count. Like, everyone just stop playing. I was first place for a while on that, and I stopped playing.
And you know who took over? Fucking Undertaker, man.
Who?
Dethroned your first place, kicked you down to like 4th or 5th, man.
I mean, I just stopped playing. I was first for like, I think, probably like almost a week, I think.
There were a few undesirables in that league that stopped me
Yeah.
from playing too.
I mean, I quit the Reddit Dota 2 league too. Because, I don't know, I got bored of playing Captain's Miller with the same heroes, but...
You know, I think Otto did have good strategy. I think the best season I've had is when I picked people who have food in their name. And now Otto has picked Sparky, Sticky Stanley, a lot of
Yo, that's
smooth
not
jazz
just
sounding
Sticky
names.
Stanley, man. That's Ganja Greg, that's
Phil
Nugget
Steve,
Nick, that's Red Bush Redondo or some shit like that. I don't know what he
Just
changed it
likes the
to.
alliteration, huh?
Oh, Righteous Bush Redondo, my bad.
Righteous.
Righteous
Nugget
Bush
Nick, yeah,
Redondo,
that
Nugget
dude's
Nick,
cool up
Ganja
there.
Greg. That guy, you gotta turn him down to like 25% too in Discord, man.
He's he used to be on Provid's team. He was in a big that semi. What was it? He was on Provid's team last season, I think. They like their crazy Sunday team where you just pick random shit. I think he played carry, right? Something like that. He apparently Redondo said he was a pretty value player actually.
We do need to somewhat move along here. I want to hear what are your guys' prediction of the result of this series. Let's go top to bottom here. Devilesk, what is the result of this series?
2-0 for Lala. 2 stomps.
Kstigs?
Yeah, 2-0 for Lala. I think like they have potential to be somewhat closer, but I don't see them losing.
Poonani?
Yeah, 2-0.
Riles?
2-1 Auto, dude. Let's go. I
Give
believe,
him a
dude. There's no way clean, man. He's gonna win. Clean and Danby, where the fuck? No way, man. Lala's gonna tilt. Let's go.
Lala,
I don't know if Lala's a Mamba mode player like me. I don't know if he's gonna tilt in the playoffs, but
I don't think Lala. Cannot remember Lala tilting. Even in games that were like they were 100% losses, impossible games, he still tries and.
yeah, he tries. But I don't know. I think they could get discouraged if things go poorly.
I think that the whole team would.
Mr. Clean's-
I think Lala's one of the.
Mr. Clean's an emotional player.
And so is Glorious. In my
Yeah, well, yeah, that's probably why he hates me. But, yeah, just
Why
an
do you ruin
emotional.
people's emotions, Riles?
I don't ruin their emotions.
He's
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, man.
He's a polarizing player, man.
That's very true. He's definitely ruins many players' emotions. First-hand account of that. But regardless, I'm actually gonna say Lala. I'll say it's a 2-1 win. I think Otto can take a game. I think the game's the most they can do, though. I don't see them winning the series. I think a 2-0 for Lala is way more likely than a win for Otto. But we are allowed to move into the 14th series of the night. We're getting close, boys. We're getting close. We got 2 of the top EST Monday teams. We have third-seeded team Kittens and their matching bunnies, captained by Sasquatch, versus one of the lower teams in Monday, the 14th seed, the Underdoggies, captained by Swish. Let's start here with the Underdoggies, the lesser known of the two teams. Who are Underdoggies? Why are they good? Who is on this team?
Yeah, I'll start this one off. Alright, I'm gonna preface this by saying I think Ellen Pudge is a beast of a player, and I would rather have no one else in this draft. But I was gonna first pick Logical until this motherfucker stole him from me, because Logical is a goddamn beast of a mid player, and he's really good. He's a little quiet and he lacks a little confidence, but I think he's probably he's the best mid laner in this matchup for sure. And I think if he snowballs and Lord Form makes a lot of space for him, they're looking good, man.
I've been informed that there may be a mistake. This might not actually be the matchup here.
Production.
Oh no.
Okay, this is the right team, the 5-man unit, but it's the wrong actual team name.
But no, they're Underdoggies.
No.
It's Peppo Hype
It's
now.
Peppo Hype. They're playing BMTS.
Okay,
This
one is not my fault because I looked at the RD2L websites, I got the players, I got the image. It is not my fault they changed their name. We're going to just put a little we'll cross that out, put a different team name in there, problem solved. Let's do
No. It's the whole different team.
Really?
Yeah.
It's not even any of these players. God
All
damn
right,
it.
I need to change
I was rooting
everything.
for Logical, man.
Who is this team then? Who actually is this team?
Dude, that's Lord Foreign, man. Show some respect.
BMTS is the other team. You want me to pull up
Yeah,
his?
did Logical make?
Yeah, please do
playoffs?
that.
Yeah, let me pull up the Dota or
I
team
am
thing for you.
not extremely familiar with many of the middling Monday teams. This is my bad.
As a middling Monday player, I'm here to help you out, dude.
You're above that. You're an above average Monday player. As long as you ignore
Right in
strength
the
of
middle,
schedule.
man. 8 out of 16, right? Feels good, dude. Here. I'm gonna message you real quick.
Alright, let's see here.
Yeah, I think Logical's team didn't make playoffs,
They
unfortunately.
did not. You're right. They didn't.
I agree that Logical was a potential. I don't know about for in your position, like 'cause you were, like you were like 20 picks after he was actually selected. I think Logical might have been a pretty good pick for you, but yeah, he's like a 5K plus, mid laner, which is extremely good in RD2L.
Yeah,
He's
I'm
like 4K
just
flat.
happy. We made it almost
And
3 hours with no mistakes
But
with
he's
this.
definitely
There
better
we
than
go.
him, for sure.
No. I think he's much higher now. I don't know. I think he's
It's
closer
all
like
party
4.7. No,
all-
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think he's a lot of potential. I'm a big Logical fan.
Logical's been playing in a lot of my in-houses. A
Is
lot
it a
of
marker for success, Riles?
yes, this is a growing ground. Lord Foreign got his start there too.
The next email.
All right.
Gonna
Oh
come
wait,
out of
are
the
we not
box
talking
section
about
here.
Logical? Wait, where's Lord Foreign, man? I can't see him anymore.
They
Nice.
didn't make playoffs.
Dude, I just want to
Fucking
talk
team.
about Lord Foreign, man. Wait, they didn't make playoffs.
No.
What? Lord Foreign didn't make playoffs?
No, Logical
Dude, Lord
first pick
Foreign is the
wasn't
best
enough.
player in my in-house by
I
far.
don't give a shit about this matchup now.
Lord
Yeah.
Foreign slayed Wagamama, dude. Basically by himself, man.
We do have to. I do want to cover this Kittens and their matching bunny squad, though. This is not only a top 3 Monday seeded team. This is actually one of the teams that multiple of our analysts we had on earlier said it's a favorite to win the entire tournament.
Wait, no way. Oh wait, Sasquatch? Oh, I
Yeah,
thought you were talking about
yeah,
Pebble. Hype.
No, I'm
No,
not. Why would I?
Sasquatch, I think.
Yeah, I'm talking about Sasquatch here. 100% Sasquatch.
I agree. I think they're definitely one of the front runners.
Dude, I played with CAC like 3 years ago. Like, I think I had like 20 games with that guy or something, and I think I unadded him after a while because I thought he was bad. Now he's back, vengeance. I flamed Sasquatch for picking that guy in the draft. I remember, but
He's 3rd round though, dude.
Yeah, he was 3rd round. I think Cock is fine to go. I mean, I know Cock best out of here, and
Isn't it
he stopped
Cack?
playing. I call him Cock, Cack, K-Hack, whatever. He doesn't care.
Oh.
Anyway, I mean, he's not the impact player on this team, I think. If he kind of like magically has a good game, that's like really good for their team, but I mean, like Sasquatch and M-John are they're gonna be put on like tempo heroes, and
Dakota clap.
I mean, they're gonna try and control the game. Like, I mean, M-John is an extremely versatile player, and he likes to play like lane dominators, at least from what I've seen, and he's very good at that. And
I heard he shit on Devilesk's Enigma last week
what did he play?
Yeah, I got fucking dumpstered. He
by
played
DK.
Oh,
Very impressive to beat Devilesk's Enigma.
I mean, I think actually Enigma should win that matchup, but I guess it becomes harder for Enigma as DK gets levels. But
I'm just
Yeah.
bad.
yeah, you have to dominate the first few levels because you have Eidolons. But yeah,
Man, I hope this team makes the finals and we face them in the finals so I can be Sasquatch
you're
again.
on the
you
same
can't-
side.
Yeah, same side of the bracket.
Alright, well, whatever, man. Same shit.
Semis, yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
No, we actually get them in the round of 8, I think.
All right, even earlier.
Well, if I can't take the throne, I hope Claire takes it to defend the title, even though he didn't even play in the playoffs. But
He's still a champion, dude.
I remember,
As
like,
bench
yeah,
player.
I mean, he's sort of a champion, but I don't even think Hype knows who Claire is still. I think Claire played like 5 games, and Hype, like, we had like 3 other support players, and Hype just thought they were all the same person. So.
Dude, I played with Claire last night. He's actually pretty value. I feel like Claire is another rigging of the RD2L.
Claire's just a Jakira Warlock
Yes,
player, man.
Harding shots.
Discount Shoeless Joe.
I don't think this team doesn't seem like that rigged. At least if we're gonna compare
The
it
team's
to.
not rigged.
Yeah, I mean, I think this team's just interesting because they put their best players on 3 and 4, which is not typically where they could have. Sasquatch has played mid, I believe, in RD2L in the past, and MJohn has played. I mean, MJohn's played every role, probably except for not too much 5, I guess, just because of his MMR. But I mean, it's just interesting the way they set up their team, and I think it'll throw some teams for a loop where, normally they're not expecting there to be such pressure on their off lane and their mid from the roamer, and that can kind of confuse teams.
Yeah, man. If you can just throw someone mid plays DK and Viper every game, that's probably ideal.
Yeah, and then
Sasquatch can just run over top lane with him, John, or whatever that safe lane is.
Yeah. And, I mean, Sasquatch been playing a lot of Tusk, Sand King, ET, I think. And those are just heroes that just go to lanes and just fuck up the supports, fuck up whatever core is there.
Oh, I wouldn't want to play that team.
Sasquatch had one of the greatest jukes on that Tusk.
All my heroes.
I forget who it was against, but it was pretty
Paradise.
amazing. Oh, it was Paradise? Yeah, Paradise. Paradise really got the shit juked out of him, man. That was pretty impressive.
Oh yeah, that's another thing to watch out for. MJohn is reminding me of Sasquatch Chen. That's another super obnoxious hero. Just fucks up your safe lane. Haha, where's your creeps?
Am I correct to
sort of
say that
anyways.
MJohn Sasquatch are the best 3-4 in all 3-4 combo in all of the RD2L?
Yeah, probably.
Swat's Brown Ninja, dude. Let's go.
I mean, I think that, if there's probably maybe better individual offlaners, but yeah, I don't think there's a better 3-4 combo.
Yeah, I agree. Besides my own team, smiley face.
All right. I mean, after Kstigs, you do have a scrim in around 4 minutes. I want to hear what do you think is your prediction for this series? What do you think the result is going to be here between Kittens and Matching Bunnies?
I think we didn't talk too much about BMTS, but I think it's going to be 2-0. I don't have a lot of respect for A2, A squared, whatever, as a core player. I think he's a good support player, but he's kind of forced to play core in RD2L, and I don't know that we played that team and they just seem pretty weak. And Sasquatch's team, we've scrimmed them. They seem quite strong, and we're about to scrim them again, actually, partially because they are strong.
But thank you for being on, Kstigs. You are free to go to your scrim and free from the playoff maelstrom.
Enjoy.
Thanks. And okay, who is this BMTS team actually? Who is Peppo Hype? That is the question.
They're pretty good. They have BMTS is a good roamer. Moop is much better at offlane. I don't know why he's playing carry, but he is. And Turbo's pretty valued for his MMR. But like Kstigs said, this mid player is not nearly as good. And I feel like this team has kind of scraped their way into playoffs by using stand-ins for him, which is kind of. They used Deserted, who was the first pick. I'm pretty sure they would not have won that game and they would not be here if they didn't do that, but whatever.
Yeah, I played against the A2 guy in the first Tiny, the one game I got to play before my internet went out, and that guy was not very good, in my opinion, so yeah, I mean, if they just use some stand-in for him, it's pretty value, because he is pretty high ranked for how good of a player he is, I think. It's my humble opinion.
BMTS can do work on his specialty heroes, so if he gets a good draft and can make more space for A2, maybe. I mean, A2 he may not be as good as you think as his rank, but he's still a divine player, and divine players can usually snowball games pretty handily. So if BMTS can get him going like that in the mid lane, then maybe they have a shot.
Well, what is the actual? I actually want to go bottom to top here. See what the actual prediction is on the results. Let's start with Riles first. What do you think the score is going to be at the end of this?
I'm pretty sure it's probably 2-0 Sasquatch. They've been playing pretty well all season, and I don't really recognize a lot of the players on Peppo Hype, so probably not that impressive.
Poonani?
Yeah, 2-0 Sasquatch.
Devilesk?
I always believe in the high MR4 player, dude.
2-0 Sasquatch. It's not even gonna be close.
I'm gonna also say 2-0 Sasquatch because, I mean, this is the one team on my entire listing that I literally got incorrect. I knew so little about them that I got the wrong team. That's the one thing I have to say about Peppo. But if they can pull the upsets, it would make a potential R bracket easier. So maybe they can win.
I do have one more thing to say. Sasquatch team is full of fucking scumbags because they didn't ticket half their games.
That's not okay. You're supposed to ticket your games. That's a rule. That's a very important rule.
Come on, Claire, step up. I see you in the chat. What are you doing?
Step it up, guys. Come on.
But we are now going to move into the 15th series of the night. We are going to move into, what we got here? We got EST Sundays, number 3 seed Nuttypizza versus the Nutty Buddies 2.0 versus EST Mondays 12 seed Pablo's Wild Ride. So,
oh God.
let's go with the let's start with the underdog. This is definitely going to be a very interesting team to talk about. It's a team captained by notorious RD2L player Pablo. What is your guys' thoughts on this team here?
Pablo's a fucking dick rider, dude. I don't know. But yeah, other than that, Terp and Rourke are definitely the best support players in RD2L. Terp's really good, but he doesn't buy any wards. I mean, Michael just buy all the wards. Mike's a great guy. He's really easy to play with. He's easy to get along. He listens well. He really wants to learn. He captains well, and he's also really honest, I think, with his players, which is good, because I think Pablo can handle it. I think Pablo can handle the flame. I don't know much about NovaKid or Inverse, but I think if Terp can have some good games, I think they could definitely stand a chance. They can have a chance to beat them, I think. They need to focus on Nier, though, because Dark really, Nier's actually carrying Dark. Like, Dark's like a second rounder, Nier's the first rounder on the team.
Wow. I would agree with Riles that this Nier guy gets a lot of space in these games. And so if you kind of make sure he can't carry the game, then you can just shut down Dark with ganks or whatever.
Also, pro tip, Mike, if you're listening, ban Rubik and ban Tusk against Wise, and he doesn't play anything else that well.
Yeah, this is definitely his best two heroes. I'm a big Wise fanboy, but
honestly, you could probably just get away with
fall
banning
off.
Tusk. Tusk has more early game impact than Rubik, and you could just pick Terp Rubik because he's really good at Rubik. But yeah.
You do have to be careful of the Nuttypizza Omni Knights. So he's not the highest skill offlaner in the EST division, Sun division. He's a big Omni Knight Underlord player to the best of my ability, and having played against them, we got beaten. Very fun series. But regardless, I think this Nutty Buddies team they were the number 1 team going into last week. They happen to have a bit of an unfortunate loss for them, and now they are the 3-seeded team. But this is overall, top to bottom, mostly at the top, pretty good team. In Dark and Nier, they have arguably the best 1-2 combo in all of EST Sunday. Got some very strong individual players there. And with the rest of their team, with Wise at the 4, Nutty at the 3, and going between Astrodi and the Johan at the 5 positions, they have guys who can definitely work around their 2 extremely high skill core players. But what is the matchup gonna be like here between? I mean, obviously we talked a little bit between the matchup between these 2 teams. But how do these 2 teams match up stylistically here? With obviously the best players of anybody's being these 2 really good core players, and the best player of Pablo's Wild Ride being traditionally a support player.
Go ahead, Riles.
I think they need to put this Nova kid in the safe lane, because I watched him play Pugna versus Dusa, and he got fucking dumpstered by Matieu, which is like a pretty good decent matchup for Pugna, and he just got absolutely shit on mid. So I would advise putting Pablo on DK mid, and letting Nova kid play some like easy carry hero, and then yeah, that's what I probably do, because Terp Castle's really good at like the mid and late game. He always gets farm on support heroes. He's probably gonna play some like wacky support Puck, Willow, something like that, or Rubik maybe, and he'll carry the game if it gets late enough. He becomes the one, that guy. You just have to enable him, man. So hopefully Mike will just enable him. Hopefully Pablo will enable him.
I think if you make sure Pablo is on a hero that can be ganked, you just gank him, and then their core hero will be dead, and then it'll win the game.
I mean, they should just let Pablo get ganked, man. Just let Pablo die like 4 times the lane, and they'll probably win the game.
That's
'Cause
probably
all-
how you
'cause
lose the game.
No, dude, Pablo doesn't even have a good game, man. Terp just needs to have a good game. They need to shut down Nuttypizza, I think. Like, if Nuttypizza gets a good game, which what happened in our series, you're probably not playing well.
I don't think it's gonna be hard to shut down Nuttypizza because Mike's pretty good at like zoning people.
You
He's
should
very
pick
good at 5.
Pablo Sniper, man. I heard he's a great sniper player. Just give him Sniper against Dark. He'll
There's
crumble.
no way Dark does not ban Sniper. Like, I'm pretty sure.
I mean, we thought that was against us, but
Okay, other than the time we played Sniper, I think all their losses are to Sniper. That's just like
Yeah.
that's something to keep in mind. They do
You're
not
saying
enjoy
Riles
playing
can't
in
play
Sniper.
no, man. I got PA'd, dude. I got dived a lot, and I made bad item choices that game. But yeah. Anyways, I think Dark OD, Dark Dark OD, DP. If he gets one of those heroes, they got a good chance to win. So like, he needs to play like something like TA, man. I heard he had a bad TA game last night. He just ganked Dark's TA, and he gets shut down or something, and they'll win.
He actually had a pretty good early game start
Yeah,
when I was watching.
I
Like,
didn't
he had
watch
a
the
lot
game.
of-
I just saw he had a lot of. He had like 330 CS, like 32 minutes, and was 4 and 6 and pretty poor. So just focus on Dark and have like a pretty good handle on Near, and you'll be okay. I think that team's pretty hard to draft against, actually. They're pretty. Their players are underrated. Like, you think their support players are like pretty bad, but they're actually like they play pretty well. They play together. They also play safe. They take their time in the game. They don't make any crazy moves. They take their time. Like Dark actually, when I played his OD, man, he was so unaggressive. He just astraling creeps and just going back to the jungle, astraling creeps. Played like no aggressively at all, and he just got farm, and a Near just kept killing me on PA. So I think that team plays pretty smart. They play pretty cool, calm, and collected. So Badger, if Pablo's team could shake it up, they have a chance.
It seems to be the way Pablo's team plays too. A lot of DK, Medusa.
Yeah,
Cool it off,
I don't know.
Farm. Seems like a pretty boring series then, unless Terp just camps the fuck out of mid and creates a shit show.
Terp just needs to get farm, and he just needs some like lane shover and just get a lot of farm while they're playing slow, and then Terp just carry the game.
We've actually talked very little about the artist known as Dark Dota. And this is a guy who's considered. I mean, this is a guy most people consider to be one of the best, one of the absolute best mid laners in the division. What are your guys' thoughts on Dark Dota?
Dark will stomp Pablo into the fucking dirt and below the earth if he gets a 1v1, but they probably won't let that happen.
I always had a negative opinion of Dark because he like called me out for banning some game when I had like some roaming Mirana on my team, like girl gamer roaming Mirana. I banned the game, and then he just talked trash to me, and I beat him, his undefeated team in the playoffs, and now we're like okay, we're pretty neutral. I think Dark's pretty good. I think he's probably the best mid besides me in Sunday. It's pretty solid, and he has a pretty big hero pool. So,
Devilesk, got any thoughts on Dark Dota?
Oh, yeah.
I think you get a 1v1 if you just aggro tri-lane them. That's what we did. Lock their supports to the safe lane. Neutralize Terp and Mike.
yeah, Devilesk team's destroyed Pablo's team. It's pretty sad to watch. I had high hopes.
You had high hopes to watch Devilesk lose?
Yeah. I did. He won. I was like, God.
That seems like a good
Watching
strategy.
like when you watch Devilesk win a lane in the off lane, man, you know your game's going badly.
Cool.
Devilesk, step up, man.
Pretty sure Dark's team has the core, far better cores. Mike's team has better supports. That seems like literally every single matchup Pablo's team has ever played is that they have the worst cores and they have the better supports. So, I feel like it puts too much pressure on Terp, but we'll see.
It's some great supports here. It is obviously possible for a team to to win out of their 3 to 5 positions, because I mean we mentioned Sasquatch's team earlier. He's a team, their 2 best players out of the 3-4, and now we're just taking that concept and we're taking it to a new extreme where instead of the best players being your offlane and your support player, they're both your support players. So it's obviously a little bit harder, but it's still possible to win right now if they can get a lot of good tempo controlling from the support positions there.
I feel like you can do that if the 5 is also very aggressive, but Mike is actually not, and he's gonna farm. And
Yeah,
kinda
Mike's
take it
not
easy.
that aggressive. Mike's pretty
He's
slow
gonna play
player.
passively.
Pablo's a pretty slow player.
Turp
Honestly,
is shut down,
they're
and
honestly
the
just a
game's
pretty
over.
slow team in general. So they just need to pick some late game heroes. They're pretty slow. I don't think Turp's not even that fast paced of a player. Like maybe if he plays Pudge or something, when he's like on Rubik or Dark Willow, he's pretty slow paced.
Oh
So-
yeah, the Turp Kessel Pudge. That's probably the hero of
I think they just banned 3 of Turp's heroes out, and they'll be fine.
What are Terp's heroes other than Pudge?
Pudge, Willow. He's been playing a lot of Willow, Rubik. Do you know any others? Devilesk.
plays Tusk.
Yeah, he does play really good Tusk, but Tusk doesn't generally carry the game as hard unless he has a super good start.
Turp Kessel's Tusk owns pretty hard in my opinion.
Yeah, no, it does
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure.
Seems a good pick actually, since
But-
Good Wise is really good at it too. He could
Yeah.
like pick it and
Yeah, I
get
think
a couple
Tusk will be
heroes himself.
Tusk will be definitely be a hot pick in that series.
Or a hot band.
Absolutely.
Hot.
Probably more of a hot band.
I think Tusk Rubik are going to be very heavily contested heroes, but
Yeah.
we do want to hear the predictions of the results here. Of I mean, it's a pretty interesting matchup here. Riles, what do you think the score's going to be at the end?
I think it'll be 2-0 Dark.
Poonani,
Gonna be 2 on Dark.
Devilesk,
I think it's gonna be a 2-1 Dark.
How's Pablo gonna win his one game, Delos?
I don't know. He's just gonna get lucky.
He's gonna get lucky.
They're gonna let the Medusa through, man.
Dark's gonna
Pablo's
throw
take it.
somehow.
Yeah, Dark does seem a little tilty, man. Hopefully he'll play some mid dazzle maybe. See how that goes for him.
good throwback right there to last season's playoffs. But I'm saying that they're going to win 2-0, but I'm not going to refer to them as Dark. I'm going to refer to them by their captain. 2-0 for Nuttypizza.
Yeah, Nutty Buddies.
Nutty Buddies.
See, at least I know that Dark is not that involved in the draft, because one of the games they lost earlier in the season, Dark just walks away from the computer, comes back, notices the opponent has first pick like it, and then they lost.
Dude, I wish I could do that. I did that all last season, the regular season. But yeah, maybe hopefully he steps into Mama mode and actually pays attention to the drafts for this series.
But we are now moving into the final, the 16th of 16 series of the RD2L NA Playoff Preview. We now have EST Monday's very own feed stack featuring Devilesk versus EST Monday's very own Nibble
Nice.
of After Dark, captained by Ripley. What are you guys' thoughts on this matchup here? Let's start with the underdogs first, to start with Ripley's team.
I guess I get started off just because I played against Potato Farmer and Nerf Bubbles last season in the playoffs. I think Nerf Bubbles a pretty underrated mid. I think his laning mechanics are pretty good, but he makes pretty poor item decisions in the mid game, and he doesn't he's a little like too passive. I think he's not aggressive enough. I think Potato Farmers, he's like I don't know, he's just like a good 5.9k carry. He plays a lot of standard heroes like Jug, Gyrocopter. I played with Amane actually in my season 11 team. I was not really impressed by him, and I don't know the other two. That's my opinion on the Ripley team. But I'll definitely get to my opinion on Matieu's team after.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Potato is just like good cancerous meta spammer. I 100% agree with Vel. He kind of just plays a little too passively, even though he's really good at laning. And then if Vel and Potato are just playing passively farming, you can just kind of steamroll them.
Yeah, I don't think their other three players are as good as their players were last season when they had like Blood Ninja, and like the one other guy. When we played them, when they were the rig team. So yeah, I think they're gonna have some issues. I don't think their drafting's good enough to beat Matieu's team. I think Matieu's a pretty good drafter. So I think they're gonna get out drafted.
Devilesk, any thoughts on Ripley?
They're really good. Potato's good carry. Vel is, yeah, as you said, passive. Kind of just farms a lot. I know he's been playing a lot of Brood, but
No, his
Like he-
Brood. I really hate his Brood, dude.
Yeah,
he
he
doesn't
just-
do anything. He just buys
yeah,
Radiance for some reason.
Radiance just AFKs, yeah.
So bad. Don't buy Radiance. Doesn't do it. It puts zero pressure on the lanes. He just goes from mid lane to like those two camps on Dire, and he doesn't. He just sits there. He doesn't do anything else. Just farms the Radiance, and then he dies really quickly because
Oh, and they got that
The hero
Samurai
switch.
Hoedown. Plays 900 games of Spirit Breaker. I saw that from last season.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, let's move into the favorite of these two Monday teams here. Let's move into the feed stack. Obviously captained by Mr. Matieu, Polo in the safe lane, Devilesk in the off lane. Thoughts on this team, guys?
Yeah, Matieu's a pretty smart drafter. He's pretty decent mechanically. He plays PL pretty well. He's a pretty standard carry player. He's definitely better in the carry role than mid. Polo's actually he's actually quite good too, and then they have a lot of flexibility between mid and safe lane with the two of them. That team likes to draft a lot of OD, so although I've criticized their OD play quite a lot when I've watched their games, but I mean the hero's pretty strong, so they always pretty much win with OD. So I would definitely try to first phase ban the OD because that's definitely a comfort pick for them. Ravioli, like I feel like he hasn't performed that well on the team, but like the games I've played with him, he's pretty decent. He's like a pretty good defensive support. I don't know if roaming. I think the biggest problem with their supports is they don't play aggressively enough in the early game. They're sort of defensive players, and it doesn't really fit the meta right now, where you usually have like a hard roamer. So I think that's probably one of the biggest weaknesses, is try to get their supports to be aggressive. So they should probably play a slower game too, and then hit a pretty strong timing window. And yeah, Fire Sword definitely needs to step it up, I think, for the support role, because that guy has like problems getting experience. He doesn't get enough done in the early game. And then their offlane player is very good. Is very cool. He plays a lot of Enigma. He plays Enigma pretty well. So, and he does I hear he's top 70 Beastmaster on Dota buff. I don't know how that happened, but that did happen at one point. Delis, how did you get top 70 on Beastmaster exactly? Any tips for aspiring Beastmaster players?
I don't know, I just picked the hero and games were ending in 15 minutes.
Do you think that was mostly your fault?
Yeah, I think it was just all me, you know.
Oh,
At
nice.
some point, you just come online and just run down
so
mid.
How come?
Your own guys.
So, I mean, you finally started to realize that you don't skill your Call of the Wild anymore, right?
Yeah, I started
Yeah,
playing
so
the hero
I
again.
heard your team has like zero confidence in picking it for you, though. Yeah.
I've won with it recently.
Uh-huh.
I don't remember what team.
Well, anyways, your Enigma has impressed me more than most of your offlaners. Your Tiny's sort of hopeless, so don't pick Tiny, please. Just get Enigma or yeah, just get Enigma both games.
My team believes in my Tiny. We won with it.
Yeah, well, they haven't been what I've
Got
been
lucky.
through. They haven't been through what I've been through. You stun the guy and then you hit him and then you don't toss and then he walks away.
I think
Or-
the series is all on you, Devilesk.
Yeah, that was truly the X Factor. Him and Ravioli are the X Factors.
Well,
What about
Ravioli's
my
dog
puck?
shit, so that's not gonna do anything.
Devil's
Oh,
Puck,
Devil's.
the Brown Boots Midas, the Devil's Abaddon, Brown Boots Midas Radiance. I've been there. Nah,
Okay, is it fair to say that, I mean, something that people have been saying earlier in the season is that Matieu Polo are the best 1-2 in all of the RD2L. Is that a fair assessment here?
I don't know, man.
Yeah, they're very good at 2v5ing every single.
Pablo Nova Kid from last series, dude. You know, Tortilla Farmer Nerf balls are actually a pretty good 1-2 as well. Well, I think, yeah, Matieu Polo are stronger, but their 1-2 is quite good too.
I feel like these teams are the exact same
and
team.
Dark Near is also a pretty strong 1-2. But yeah, maybe Matieu Polo.
Yeah, this is like mirror matchup. Should be fun actually, or it could just be a disgusting farm fest.
I'm going for the outdraft, so I favor Matieu in this series.
And what is like the final score prediction here? Start with Riles. What is your score prediction for the series?
2-0 for Devilesk. I want a rematch in the grand finals, so he can tell me to throw again, and then I'll just tell him nope, and I'll beat him.
Devilesk.
I'm gonna say 2-0 for my team.
Poonani?
Oh yeah, 2-0 for Devilesk.
I mean, you never know what you're gonna get, man. You could get like Devilesk support Razor, maybe a Razor off lane. Maybe a Gyro
we can secret strats here.
Support Troll Warlord.
Support Troll, support Druid.
Okay, actually, I'm gonna give one game. I'll give one game to Ripley here. I'm saying it's a 2-1 in favor of Feed Stack rather than the 2-0.
You're crazy.
I got a deep feeling that for some reason they're gonna lose one of these games. I don't really know why. Just it's what I have that intuition. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Also, by the way, dude, Polo needs to for his Timber Saw, man. He pulls away his chakram too early. Like he just needs to let it chill for like a hot second. Cause every time I watch him play Timber, man, he just presses R and then he presses R again. And I saw Alpaca criticizing his Timber, so a little hot tip: let the chakram chill.
Alright, actually, I want to go into one more thing, though, is I want to go into a couple hot takes sort of playoff predictions here. Let me ask you guys, who is going to win the entirety of the RD2L playoffs? But you cannot name your own team.
What the fuck, dude? Alright, well, I'm not answering. Me. I'm winning all of it.
I'm gonna go with Curry and Eos. I
Alright,
really think
that's
they're
fucking insane, dude. That's probably one of the worst. That's like Nova Kid Pablo level of duo core.
Devilesk? Do you still go with the Sasquatch prediction from earlier?
I mean, he's gonna get to the finals. I don't know if he's gonna win it because Mateu's gonna win it.
I'm gonna hot take. I think we got a good chance to. We have a chance to win this, but if we're not gonna win it, I'm gonna make the crazy prediction of Pablo's Wild Ride winning the playoffs.
Alright, that's absolutely insane.
I'm mostly kidding there, just mostly. I think I like Torn first pick coming through as a team, though. I think if we're not going to win it, I think they have a very good shot of putting it together. I've heard they've had a little bit of recent issues, but having casted like 3 of their series, I have a lot of confidence, especially in Mizzy.
If it's not me, dude, I'm pretty sure Mikel's gonna win. I think that team's actually pretty decent.
I mean, we are going to run into them, assuming neither of us gets upset first round. We are going to run into them second round of the playoffs. So that's
it's either us. It's either us or Loves Muffins.
Loves Muffins, man. They were a #1 seed from Sunday. They have good shots.
Loves Muffins, most underrated 4 in the league. Thank you.
You're welcome.
This has been, though, a very long feature of the Reddit's Dota 2 League North American Playoff Preview. Devilesk, do you have anything to say to the people?
No.
Riles, do you have anything to say to the people?
We're going all the way, dude. I'm Mamba mode engaged. Everyone thinks I'm toxic, but I am the least toxic in the playoffs. I'm the most try-hard. I'm going 100% in it. I'm putting Coop in the backpack. I'm putting Brown Ninja in the backpack. I'm putting Badger on my shoulders, and we're going all the way. And actually, Coop might have to be dragged on screaming, but we're going all the way.
But Coop actually has a request to you, Riles. He wants you to say something nice about everybody on our team.
He wants, okay, Badger is been a huge benefit this season for his content creation he's done. I think he's made the Sunday League a lot more like interesting. I think Watts, I appreciate his willingness to learn and educate himself on how to improve in Dota, and I also appreciate him being a really good third round pick for offlane. Coop, I appreciate Coop for not quitting the team yet after all the times I've yelled at him. And I think he's plays Witch Doctor well. Brown Ninja, very optimistic player. Yeah, Brown Ninja's very optimistic player. Has had some good roaming games early in the season. And Hef Dogs 4-0, the best player on our team probably. But we're not gonna play him because that'd be too easy.
Poonani, do you have anything to say to the people?
Yeah, keep doubting me, because
you're probably gonna
show
lose.
up and fucking trash you guys.
You guys are
It's
probably
gonna
gonna
be
lose
so
after
sweet to
second
drink all your
round.
tears.
Definitely gonna
Look,
lose after
nerds.
second round. I seen Poonani support crumbles under the pressure.
I do want to give a shout outs to anybody who watched this live, especially if you watched the entirety of the 3 hour and 50 minutes situation.
Dude, I watched it all somehow.
Shout outs to you then. And even if you didn't watch the entire thing, say you're watching a part of it on the YouTube VOD later, thank you for watching and thank you for supporting my contents, and best of luck to all the teams in the playoffs. Have a great night, folks.
Alright, see you, homies.